NFL draft.
Let's
Jesse, shall we do it?
Let's do it. We are recording.
Welcome
We are
to
live.
welcome to the. I'm just kind of jumping in here,
Let's do it.
but are we gonna cross post this? Should we start it? Start it.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and cross post.
We can start it. Start.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the Spillin' It Pod 2026 Draft Spectacular. And I say spectacular because for the entirety of this first round of the 2026 NFL Draft,
I'm glitching.
no immediate technical difficulties.
All right. I think I'm up now. I think I'm back up.
Are you with me still, brother?
Yes, we are here. Sorry. What question did you ask me to leave?
We didn't even make it to 15 seconds. No, it's all good. We didn't. It seems emblematic. We didn't even make it 15 seconds before our first technical error. I just asked if you're excited, how you're feeling on this most exciting night of NFL football here.
I got mixed feelings. Obviously, got to rep my boy. Fernando Mendoza. Very excited for him to go first overall here in the next 4 minutes or so. But a little bittersweet. The Colts don't have a pick this year, and I really like the first round talent that we have. In this draft. So. Bit of a mixed bag. I'm going to be here to celebrate Fernando Mendoza, and very interested to see where Caleb Downs goes as well. But, I love drafts. I love seeing, for a lot of these guys, just a lifetime of hard work finally come to fruition, and, getting to see the family celebrate. This is kind of it, for these guys. Life-changing money for a lot of them, and... I know a lot of them already have made life-changing money through NIL deals and whatnot, but just really cool to see their journey not only begin, but also for them to be able to kind of look back on all the amazing things that have happened in their lives.
Absolutely. You said you love the draft. Anybody that has watched this pod knows we love a draft. Yeah, even ones that are functional and not for fun. Jesse, I'm curious. How much have you followed the pre-draft process? I know, obviously, Fernando and some of the other top prospects here, but I'm curious. I want to know where you are in terms of your knowledge of the guys that we're going to hear tonight.
I'll be honest.
How closely have you followed this prospect class?
Not a ton. I am definitely more of I'm going to follow the NBA draft kind of guy. And to me, obviously, these guys are going to make massive impacts, but I just feel like we see impacts quicker with a lot of the NBA prospects. Not to say that obviously this is not a major important night in the NFL, but I don't know. For me, it's easier to digest with only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. I have not followed an MLB draft because there's 600 rounds, but yeah, outside of the kind of the top guys, I'm kind of going in blind on this one.
Okay, fun, because I feel like I have a pretty solid grasp on the guys that we're going to hear tonight. So I think this will be a good mix of, I can tell you some stuff about them, and we can just kind of talk about react. The pick is in for the Raiders, and Fernando Mendoza, officially the #1 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft.
It's so cute, though.
Jesse, you're the IU guy here. Your immediate thoughts on Fernando we've had plenty of time to think about this pairing, right? We knew he was going to be a Raider for quite a while, but now that it's official, your first thoughts on Fernando as a Las Vegas Raider.
Wait, why is he not
if
there?
I'm looking at
not all that, so Cheyenne.
Go ahead.
Cheyenne in the room here just asked why he's not there. So briefly,
all of them don't go.
Yeah, briefly, he chose there's not as many prospects at the draft as there used to be, and Fernando chose to celebrate with his family, as we're seeing here, on the broadcast rather than go to the draft. So anyway, Jesse, you were saying.
What a wholesome man.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with, probably accessibility for his mom and, just being able to have as many people as possible. I mean, if you're looking at the room, he's going around and hugging every individual person that's there. You can't have that many people at the draft. And, for him, he determined that his family's more important here. And tying into your initial question, I think that's the exact kind of guy you want leading your franchise. Someone who has his priorities in the right place. And, let's face it, Vegas has been kind of an up and down place for draft prospects to go to. We obviously have some issues with some guys, getting into legal trouble, to say the least, going into Vegas. And Vegas has that tendency, and I think Fernando's the kind of guy who's just going to be unshakable in those things. And I think he is a perfect pairing for what this franchise needs right now. And I just hope for his sake that the arm talent translates to the pro game. His preparation is going to be top notch. His leadership isn't going to be questioned. It's going to be, can that arm strength transition to the pro game? And based off of everything that I saw, I think he's the real deal. He is clear-cut the best quarterback in this draft. And just very, very proud to finally have a Hoosier as the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, and I think Fernando Mendoza, there's been a lot of discussion among draft analysts. This is kind of a down draft class, right? It doesn't mean that there aren't franchise caliber players available and talents that can change your fortunes. But in terms of the overall top quality, most people kind of agree it's a down class.
Yes.
But a lot of people agree that Mendoza is still, that doesn't mean he's like a bad prospect. I think he's a very strong prospect. He's got prototypical size for the position. He's got, a lot of those things you were talking about, Jesse, the skill, the arm, the talent. I'm pulling up. So I have Dane Brugler with The Athletic puts out a 660-page PDF called The Beast that covers just an unfathomable number of draft prospects. So I have that up for some context for us. But, Mendoza is almost measured at just a quarter inch under 6'5". He's 236. This is not a case of this is just the top guy that in a weak class. This is a real quarterback prospect and a real number 1 pick. I think he is the clear and obvious choice for the Raiders, regardless of his position or the draft class. I think that he has a good ceiling. I don't know that he's like a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type quarterback, but I think he could very comfortably grow into a fringe top 10 NFL quarterback, and that's certainly worth the number 1 overall pick for sure. Okay, so Raiders, number 1 pick, it's in. The Jets pick is in. So, Jesse, any thoughts on what you think the Jets could do here at number 2? A lot of people linking them to one of the top edge rushers in this class.
Yeah, I think
the prevailing thought is Arvell Reed, David Bailey.
I think the pick is David Bailey here. If I had my pick out of Texas Tech, 6'4", 250 pounds, he's going second in a lot. I don't really know. Sure. I don't know if you can go wrong here. I think either Bailey or Reese are going to be just excellent pros. Just kind of depending on what you're looking for. So very interested to see what the Jets end up doing. But obviously with the quarterback situation being what it is in this draft, I think you got to go with what's the best available.
Yeah. I like Arvell Reese a lot. He is just an insane athlete. David Bailey is an elite rusher, and if the pick is David Bailey, they're going to get a quality player for sure. I feel like you got to take the swing on Reese. He's shown elite level tape at both linebacker and edge rusher. Obviously, if you're taking him number 2, you're probably taking him to rush the passer as an edge rusher. Also want to acknowledge Hope. Hope in the chat talking about Mendoza thinks he's a better prospect than he's given credit for. Draft class around him hurts him. Absolutely agree, Hope.
Yeah.
Jets pick is in. It is David Bailey. Okay, Jesse. Wow, you were on the money here. I've heard a lot. It's been kind of a bit of a toss-up between those two guys. They did cancel their NFL teams get 30 what they call top 30 visits, where guys can come in and spend an extended amount of out-of-town prospects come in, spend some time with the team at their facility. The Jets canceled their meeting with David Bailey and said not to read too much into it. But a lot of people assumed that meant maybe they were leaning towards Arvell Reese. But maybe our first surprise here, he's number 7 on Dane Brugler's big board. Certainly not a guy that doesn't deserve to be number 2, but maybe a little surprising here, but a quality pass rusher, and I think somebody that will bring a lot to the Jets.
Yeah, and I think for David Bailey, I think in the scheme that the Jets are looking to run, that 4.5 speed, which can you imagine a dude that size run a 4.5 speed at you. I could never be a quarterback
Horrifying.
in this league. And it's only going to continue to get, I guess, worse or better depending on what your opinion on that is. But yeah, David walking out here looking as swaggy as possible. Definitely looks the part of a number 2 overall pick. And I think the Jets got a good one. Very interested to see what the Cardinals do with this next pick. I know there's been a lot of talk about maybe trading that pick. But Ben, looking at number 3, do you think this is a spot where you're, in our opinion, the number 1 most talented player in the draft? Do you think Jeremiah goes here?
So there's been a lot of smoke about Jeremiah Love potentially here. I've also heard a lot of chatter about the Cardinals trying to trade this pick, like you mentioned, maybe trading down, acquiring some more picks. I think Jeremiah Love is the best player in this class. We've talked about that. I don't think I love him here. He would be a great player on the Cardinals. I don't know about the value here for Arizona. Their offensive line needs a lot of help. It's hard to put. We've seen with some people. Ashton Genty is a great example. Great running back, but I keep saying Oakland. You've poisoned me, Jesse. Vegas's offensive line this past season was not good, and so the opportunity cost or the ability of an elite running back to overcome offensive line play is hard, no matter how elite you are. We saw with Saquon. He still was productive in New York, but he ascended to a new level in his first season behind an elite line in Philadelphia. I love Jeremiah Love. I don't know. I feel like they're probably going to pull the trigger, and if they don't, I think Tennessee probably will at 4. If I'm Arizona, though, I'm rushing to the podium for Arvell Reese. I mean,
I would agree.
You mentioned the 4.5 speed for David Bailey, which is, again, like an insane for that guy. Arvell Reese ran a 4.46.
Disgusting.
The same kind. It's an insane. He's 20 years old. He has a lot of untapped potential. Already has shown a lot. I'd probably lean more with a defensive selection there, either Reese or, if you could be a really big believer in Sonny Styles. It would be hard to take an off-ball linebacker that's not an edge rusher like Sonny Styles that early. That position typically isn't drafted that high, but I don't know if I'd pull the trigger here on Jeremiah Love, Jesse, but they'd get an elite player if they did.
Yeah, and it's a good place to be in. Regardless, between either Arvell or Jeremiah Love, I think you're going to have a really rock-solid pick. For me personally, as a Colts fan, I hope they go with Arvell Reese because I do not want Tennessee scooping him up and having to deal with him over the next 12 to 15. I have seen division rivals just murder our quarterbacks, and I do not want to face that man twice a year because he is going to be an absolute beast. My screen is pulling up David Bailey's stats right now, and pressure percentage of 20%, number 1 in the FBS out of any player. That is just outrageous. And I know we've talked about the Big 12 being a lower competition level, but the fact of the matter is 1 out of every 5 dropbacks having a pressure is just disgusting from any single player at all whatsoever. You'd be happy with that as a defensive unit, let alone, a single guy on the team. Also, shout out to Pittsburgh. Really cool setup that they have for the draft this year. I know it's been a long, long time since Pittsburgh's been able to host the draft. I think, if I remember, it was sometime in the 1940s was the last time they hosted it. So really, really cool that they're being able to host it. And, one of the most incredible football towns, and I'm not just saying that because your wife's sitting right there, truly just,
but you're not saying it.
Right. But truly one of the pillars, I think, of the NFL and one of the coolest skyline cities, in my opinion. I know this is the NFL draft, but I've always loved the view from PNC Park from the Pirates. Just really, really cool sports town that I don't think gets enough credit. Absolutely.
Quickly, if anybody is in the chat and cannot chat, as my wife is attempting to join the chat and it's not letting her type, if you're watching this, you probably know us, so maybe text us on the side and be like, hey, it won't let me in. We're trying to troubleshoot that so that Cheyenne can join the chat. But yeah, I don't pick is in, Jesse. It seems like the Cardinals are going to stick and pick here. Um, I don't know. I think we're pretty. You and I are pretty much in agreement. We think it'll be either Jeremiah Love or Arvel Reese. They're the top two players on Dane Brugler's board. He had, for reference, Fernando Mendoza was the third ranked prospect on his at top 100 or his big board, I guess, because it's more than 100. I see Raji Goods heading to the podium, so I guess we'll see here momentarily who Arizona takes. Big draft for them,
Big draft.
Some really got to nail this pick. Let's see what they got. Jeremiah Love.
It is J Love,
an Arizona Cardinal.
Okay, they're going with talent.
So I was curious because in free agency, they signed a couple guys like Tyler Algier that are like not necessarily impediments to taking Jeremiah Love here, but it is interesting. I don't know. I'm curious, Jesse, what you think about the strategy of signing multiple veteran running backs if you're going to take a guy and giving them real money. You have a crowded running back room now. I'm curious about that team building strategy.
Just from my perspective,
I don't hate the pick, but
it looks like they are going after kind of a different approach. I think for so long they were trying to turn themselves into an aired out offense with Kyler Murray. And, one of the things that always frustrated me about Kyler's tenure there was it never really felt like there was a plan. At least schematically speaking, it was a lot of go downfield, let Kyler throw it, and then let him make a decision. And if he needs to run, he can run. And I think with a different scheme, things could have been different. A little more of that triple option, maybe that RPO action for them, I think could have been very different for Kyler. But to me, it looks like they are completely shifting gears and they're looking to be run heavy, and looking to establish the run first and foremost. And at least for a couple of years, it doesn't look like there's going to be a ton of downfield action for them, but you got to start winning in the trenches first. And you're going to need, in this day and age, you're going to need multiple guys. And Jeremiah can be that bell cow for you, but some of the other names that you mentioned, good receiving backs, and I think guys that can ease the load so you can extend Jeremiah Love's career quite a bit. Kind of in that David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs mold. And we've seen that work. You got to have the right system quarterback in place for it to work down the road. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Cardinals are close to contention regardless of who they picked here. So, you go with talent, you try to stack and see what you can get to stick.
Absolutely. You talked about winning in the trenches, and I agree with you. By the way, just a quick side note, if you've never seen Jeremiah Love's Notre Dame highlights, I implore you to watch them. This man is a freak.
It's a joy
and I don't just say that because I root for that team. I don't know. To win in the trenches, I feel like there's more work to be done on that offensive line. And I worry about, this is the first top 5 pick, by the way, at running back since Saquon in 2018. Positional value, hashtag positional value. But I do think he is a special prospect. Well, Troy, easy. Oh, sorry, Troy, out. Buddy, sorry. My dog is attempting to tackle my laptop. He is under the desk that I've made for myself and just about knocked over.
He's trying to make the case for Spencer Fano.
Spencer Fano is shiesty a little bit, and also welcome to Cheyenne in the chat here. Finally got it to work.
There she is.
So Tennessee, Jesse, I feel like we think it's Arvel Reese, perhaps, but if it's not Arvel Reese, I'm not really if it's not Arvel Reese, maybe they're a team that is willing to look past the arm length of Ruben Bain. I feel like it's got to be an edge rusher based on what they need, and your top choices worth here are Ruben Bain or Arvel Reese.
If it's not Arvel Reese, fire everyone. I mean,
could it be? Could we see Carnell Tate? They don't really have, you have Calvin Ridley, but he's a veteran and he's not necessarily like a prototypical number 1 option at this point in his career. It's a team that could use a receiver. Like, it does seem that the pick is in, so it will be the Titans. But Jesse, could it be a receiver?
You got Robert Saleh as your coach. He's a defensive-minded coach. You give him the weapons. That becomes your thing. If you're going to hire him as your coach, you got to put the right guys in place. And I agree, they do need a receiver. But again, it's very similar situation as the Cardinals. You know, they're not one guy away. You need to start building a system. What is going to be your identity? And you know, if Cam Ward is going to be that guy, he's going to elevate receivers that he has around him. And I think you need to focus on the other side of the ball. I really do. That needs to be your identity, and I think you 100% need to go all in on the defense.
Yeah, I see. I don't necessarily disagree, and they've done a lot of good work this offseason already in kind of transforming that defensive line room. I don't know. I think it should be Arvell Reese. I think he's the highest ceiling prospect here for sure. And it looks like, I mean, they're showing the Tennessee War Room, you know, like celebrating or whatever. Well, they don't look too excited, but you know, they clearly after they've called in the pick, and now they're waiting for it to come across TV. I feel like I'm kind of with you though. I feel like establishing that culture and that identity of you want to be a defense first team, and especially receiver. You know, there's a lot more evidence there's a lot of evidence that you can find difference makers at that position later in the draft. But I'm just trying to think of if it's not Reese or Bain, if you prefer Bain. I feel like it's probably one of those edge players, and if it wasn't, maybe it would be Tate because. Sonny Styles, I don't know. That's still pretty high for that position. I don't think Caleb. Same with safety. Like that's part of what makes this an atypical draft class. Is 3 of your best 6 players are a running back, an off-ball linebacker, and a safety.
Right.
So, all right, pick is in, Jesse. Final thoughts, Reese.
That's who I would go with. I mean, if you get Cardinal Tate here, it's not a bad pick, but I would go with Reese.
And they're showing us Carnell Tate. Wow, I'm from the future.
Wow. Okay.
I'm from the future.
Okay.
I remember this moment. And so now, Jesse, here's my question, right? It's clear now it feels like the draft community was a little higher on Arvell Reese maybe than the fans.
I think so.
Or than the league was. So we're looking here, New York, right? I don't know that edge rusher is their biggest need.
No, I actually
Cleveland
had them taking Carnell. I really had them.
Yeah, I would have had them taking, or Jeremiah Love. I would have imagined them if he got out to them. So now, I mean, you know, Cleveland has a lot. Literally, I think Cleveland wide receiver and offensive line are their 2 biggest needs. The top there, I don't know that there's another receiver that you would take this high. So I feel like they'll probably take our first offensive lineman. Could we get to 7 with Reese?
It's possible. I mean, maybe if you're willing to overlook some injury scare, maybe Jordan Tyson here for New York.
Jordan Tyson is an intriguing prospect for sure.
A very intriguing prospect, and I think him going there would be really interesting because he doesn't have to be the guy. You know, they got Malik Neighbors there. He's fitting in as a number 2. That could get very, very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to call that a shock. Carnell Tate is clearly a top prospect. You know, he's clearly that guy.
It's a surprise more than a shock, I think. We would have expected, like we talked about. I mean, you hire Robert Saleh. You talk a lot about building up your defense. Wow, the Giants pick is already in. They were quick on that
podium.
But I do like the pick for Tennessee for the reasons that I kind of gave out, and I want to credit Hope here. She's talking about in the chat the Titans rebrand. I do like the Titans rebrand. I forgot about it entirely until they were on the clock, and then I was like, yeah, that's right, they did that.
Yeah, the Titans rebrand is good.
I really like the idea. You talked about Cam Ward if he's the guy, he'll elevate the team around him, and I do think that's ultimately going to have to be the case. But I think when you have a young quarterback, and this is something I'm interested to see how the Raiders use the rest of their draft to support Fernando Mendoza in, because I think they're another team that could, you know, they have Brock Bowers and Genty, but they don't have an alpha dog at receiver. I think it's really important. You have to give your young quarterback weapons so that they can develop. You know, you don't want to bring them in on day 1 or day 366 or, you know, in their first couple seasons and make them be the guy. You want to give them weapons and options so that they can develop. And then by the end of their rookie contract, when they become more expensive, you would expect them to be able to elevate with less resources devoted to the weapons. So I like the pick a lot from the perspective of, you know, now you're really building that out. You have a serviceable running back in Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
He's and I say serviceable not as like a
No, he's gonna work
derogatory
for the next several years though.
Yeah, if you roll out week 1 and he's your starter, you don't feel bad about that.
No,
You're like, okay,
no.
this guy's solid. Like he's a solid running back. You also have Tajay Spears still. Now you have a true alpha receiver in that room, and I do like Carnell Tate a lot as a prospect.
Yeah,
I think
I do
he
too.
is a very good player. He is number 10 on Dave Brugler's big board, so obviously the farthest down there, but he's the clear wide receiver 1 to me in this class.
Absolutely.
He is a day 1 starter. You can throw him out there. I think he, we have a lot of Ohio State receivers in the NFL, so you kind of know what to expect. They're all different, but I don't have any questions about him as a prospect. I think I agree. It was a surprise for sure, but I nailed it.
Yes, you did. Question for you, Ben. So they just showed a graphic on the draft here that this is the 6th wide receiver in recent history to be drafted in the first round from Ohio State. Are they wide receiver U, or is it still LSU?
I think it's Ohio State. I mean, it's tough, right? Because LSU has Jamar and Justin Jefferson and plenty of other great examples. But I think in terms of volume of quality NFL starters, I mean, I think those LSU guys are better, right, than anybody that Ohio State has put out. But I think it's a little more top heavy. I think if you stack them up, I would probably lean Ohio State just in terms of the volume of starter to like Pro Bowler and above quality players that they're pumping out. I'm Neighbors. I don't know. Ask me again at the end of the season when I know how healthy Malik Neighbors is.
Right.
But
Jackson Smith and Jigba throws a wrench into that too when he just exploded this year.
Yes. Olave had an awesome season. You still got Terry McLaurin is a little older than some of these other guys, but he's still extremely productive. It depends on what I classify Jameson. I don't consider Jameson Williams an Ohio State product at all. I'm hearing trade here at this pick.
Okay.
The Browns are trading number 6 to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
So after the Giants pick here, we're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs are trading up. I wonder if they know Arvell Reese is falling past the Giants and the Chiefs are about to get.
Yep. That's what I'm
Arvell
thinking
Reese.
too. Or I mean, either him or Bain, both options still available.
They could also. They need a safety. Caleb Downs. I really would prefer Caleb Downs not to be in the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's also they traded Trent McDuffie and they let a couple starters in the secondary and key contributors walk. They've never really valued the cornerback position. Typically, they take later round guys and just develop them. Could they be trying to get Mansour Delane from LSU, the number 1 corner in the draft? I don't know. So I haven't seen any terms yet, Jesse, and I'll update when I get those terms. But
maybe
the Browns. Okay, so here it is. The Browns have traded number 6 to the Kansas City Chiefs for number 9, 74, and what is that? 148. So they're trading back 3 spots. They're picking up a 3rd and a 4th.
Yeah, picking up 74 is a good
so
pickup
not
for the Browns.
Honestly, not very expensive. And the Browns, like I said, they need literally anybody to put at offensive line and start for them, and they can get that at 9. There's a couple quality tackles in this draft class. Spencer Fano, we mentioned already.
Yeah, I wonder if the Chiefs
Francis
are going to go after Fano.
Yeah, they could be. The Chiefs maybe need an offense. Could use an offensive lineman too. They have some workable starters, but they could use an upgrade.
They could use a guy, especially with Mahomes coming off an injury like that. They might be pushing the chips in to make sure that he's protected.
For sure. Sorry, Gypsy. Dad's podcasting. Can you see cattail? Yeah. All right. We're back from commercial here. Should get this Giants pick pretty quickly. I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are trading up because Arvell Reese is available.
I feel like
could this be a Sunny Styles spot here?
That'd be interesting.
I bet it's one of the. I mean, we have 3 of the top prospects in this draft are Ohio State defenders, and then obviously the Ohio State receiver Carnell Tate just went. So could we see an Ohio State run here? If they take Styles here, the Chiefs take Reese at 6. I don't know. It's interesting. And Caleb Downs he's going to be an all-pro, but he's a position that typically is not drafted that highly. So
right, you need a generational guy for it to be that high.
And like Kyle Hamilton was drafted at 14th in the draft that he was taken. I think if that draft was redone, he would go much higher. It's just hard. The bar you have to clear for the positional value to match the draft slot there is tough. All right. Arvell Reese is a New York Giant. So now I'm fascinated why the Chiefs traded up 3 spots, because I would have imagined that I would think that a player that they didn't think was going to be available is now available.
Right.
And I thought that would have been Arvell Reese, but now maybe they really love Caleb Downs. Or you're right, Jesse, and they're going for a tackle like Fano.
Yeah, they fell in love with some offensive lineman, but clearly they fell in love with some prospect enough to move up 3 spots.
Yeah, I'm interested. I know neither of us is a trench guru, so I don't know that we could speak to the differences between Fano, Francis Malinoa out of Miami, Ola Yane from Penn State. Those are Monroe Freeling from Georgia. Those are kind of the top offensive linemen. And it feels like kind of a draft where it might be who you prefer. I think Fano is pretty much the consensus top lineman, but it could be one where if you have your preference, I don't know. But Arvell Reese, a New York Giant. I did not see this draft going that way.
I did not either. I had a few guys flipped around here, but great pickup for New York. I think if Tate's not there and you're not looking to try to build a 2-headed monster at receiver, I think that's a great pick for him. And I don't know if you ask any Giants fans if they're going to be like, oh, yeah, we're coming out of here with Arvell Reese. But I think they're probably happy with that. I definitely would be.
Yeah.
Proven guy, played against some good competition. Yeah, I think that's a great pickup for them. Before we get into the next pick and starting to look at things, Ben, the NFL shortened the time in between picks, and there's only 8 minutes on the clock now. How do you feel about the new pace?
It's so good. I want to credit my friend Ryan, who also asked, not in our chat, but in a separate chat, why we still do this whole song and dance of putting the first team on the clock. That's the next evolution, but this 8-minute clock, I think it's great. It's making this move. Already feels faster.
Yeah.
Some years it's felt like we've gotten to the 8 o'clock mark, 8 o'clock Central, so the hour mark of the draft, and it's like, holy shit, we're still at like
we
7.
Still are going.
We might be to pick 10 or 11 to that point that we get here tonight. And I think this keeping it crisp. You still have plenty of time, if there's something unexpected and you need to try to wheel and deal. But the reality of a lot of these draft trades is teams don't start that negotiation today. They already know. The Chiefs, they may not have agreed to the trade today, but they already had a framework in place. They understood if we want to trade with Cleveland to go up to 6, here's what it's probably going to take. And that can tweak a little bit depending on how the draft rolls out. Like they might be like, oh, like we know you're going up for this, and the price is going to change a little bit or whatever. But you generally have an idea. You're not just cold calling the Browns and being like, so what's it going to take? Yeah, we're good with that.
Yeah, that's very rarely happens.
I don't think it really hampers the team, and it makes for a quicker process. I also forgot that was a thing until we sat down to do this. So I'm excited for that. The Chiefs, this is just so fascinating.
I'm very interested to see where they go here.
And even the Arvell Reese to the Giants, I feel like that's good drafting, best player available.
Yep.
You have already Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau is likely not a long-term part of your future. And so you're dropping Arvell Reese in a situation where you're not asking him to be your alpha pass rusher from day one. You can bring him along a little bit because he's played about 400 snaps at edge rusher.
Yeah.
In his career, he'd never played it before this past season. He showed immense promise and talent, but he is a raw player. He's 20 years old. He'll turn 21, I think, before the season ends. But Kansas City. So I would have been interested, Jesse, if we had gotten to this point. Obviously, it's moot because Carnell Tate's off the board. I could have seen them trading up for Tate. You know, they've never really prioritized adding a receiver in the same way that they could have in recent years. I'm looking at the board. Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Mansour, Delane are your top 3 available. But Fano does loom
as
as
guys, though. I don't know.
Could you trade up for Bane if you think he doesn't make it past Washington or New Orleans?
That's the only thing.
If you really believe
in
Ruben Bane,
yeah, if you're really
and you're like
enamored with him,
edge.
Then yes.
I feel like that's Jordan Tyson. You also name dropped earlier. He's a lot of scary injury history, but an extremely talented and productive player. When he's there, he's a skill set that really fits the Kansas City receiver room well. Chiefs pick being announced by Raji Goods. Sad thing about doing the pod is we missed him getting booed. Mansour Delane is a Kansas City Chief, so they trade up to ensure that they walk away with a top cornerback in the draft.
Hi.
You know what's interesting, Jesse? We talked about their philosophy for many years has been to not prioritize the cornerback position and draft and develop. They have a strong track record of that, but you trade your top corner to the Rams and let another starter walk, and you replenish with your top corner prospect in the draft.
I will say, Delane definitely for me so far has the #1 suit game. I'm loving this lavender suit.
And he looks fly as hell. I'm glad that you mentioned that because he looks elite.
You know, I think it might be a little bit of a reach. You know, as far as talent-wise goes, he is the top corner in the game, or in the draft going into this right now. But the grade goes up a little bit for the lavender suit and double chain. It's working.
I mean, he is. Now, you talk about wide receiver. LSU also has a strong track record of cornerback play in the NFL. So that's certainly not a surprise here. But
I'm cracking
the
up
Commanders pick is
he's
already
5'11"3/4. Give the man the 6. Give him the 6.
That's me. I am 5'11" 3/4, and damn it if I'm not honest about that.
I respect that.
People will tell. My wife will sometimes say I'm like 6 feet tall. I'm like, no. Also, you know what I just learned about Mansour Delane? Same birthday as me.
Hey,
December 15th. Is this the first time I've liked a Chiefs player? It's crazy.
Give it time.
He is 8 years younger than me, born on the same day. That is humbling.
You don't have to do that, man. Come on now.
That's tough. Holy cow, this man is 8. I need a moment.
We're going to have an existential crisis on air because Ben decided to do math.
I saw 2003, which is just grim that we're at that point. These are children being drafted for sure.
Man.
But what's crazy is he's 22. Like, he's not...
Right. He's not a child by any stretch of the imagination, but man.
I'm learning apparently that they flagged Jeremiah Love's heart at the combine, but additional research revealed that he has no added risk. So that's concerning, but good to hear that they're not that concerned. Okay, so Commanders, I feel like they would have loved to have walked away with Carnell Tate as well. They have a need at receiver. He's not on the board. Do you feel like it's too early? I'm interested. I don't know how much you know about Mekhi Lemon. We've talked about Jordan Tyson. Mekhi Lemon's another name of a receiver that could go as wide receiver too. I feel like it's a little early for either of those individuals.
I think so
I wouldn't draft Tyson personally because his injury history is just so scary to me.
I
wouldn't
Bane
take him
here.
in this.
I'd go Bane.
I think Bane makes the most sense. Yeah.
I think
a tackle wouldn't hurt them either.
No, not at all.
But
Especially
it's not
with
really
the injuries that Jaden had.
They could use a safety, but I don't think you're going to see Caleb. As good as I think Caleb Downs is going to walk away as one of the 5 best players in this draft class.
I think so too.
But again, it's one of those, like, it's hard. Like running back, like Jeremiah Love, for example, we'll have to see what the terms end up being, but he's going to be like a top 10 paid running back already as a rookie.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of how that position is valued financially. So it's a similar thing with safety. Like, it's hard to you're not getting as much surplus value on that. Whereas like a quarterback, like for example, Mendoza, the top quarterbacks get paid $60 million a year. So like if Mendoza is good, like the surplus value generated there is insane. Same with like edge rushers, offensive tackles, positions like that, corner even at this point. Looks like we got Jerome Bettis.
The
Of course
bus.
we fucking do.
The bus is looking stout as ever. Goodness gracious, that's a build.
One of my favorite Jerome Bettis memories is when he fumbled at the goal line.
Some of us in the room probably remember that differently. Lynn Swan also looks ageless.
Yeah, Lynn Swan could line up
Like,
today.
how old is Lynn Swan? Like, he could line. I think Lynn Swan is at least 60.
Would you
He was
take?
born in 52. That is a 74-year-old man standing right there, and
has
he
aged
looks
like a fine
Lynn Swan.
Merlot. Look at him.
Bobby
The bus
Wagner,
looks the same
NFL
too.
Man of the Year.
Love some Bobby Wagner.
Good dude. Presented by Nationwide. Apparently. Pay us.
Yo, would you take
All right.
Lynn Swan with a top 20 pick right now today?
You gotta think about it, right? Like, show me a hitch route.
Right?
Sonny Styles, Washington Commander.
Okay. So Ruben falls again.
I like it for him. I think Sonny Styles is a really good player. I
think
don't
so.
know if that specific position was necessarily their biggest need, but you know what? If you've got a best player available mentality that you often should, and you view him as the best player available, I don't hate the pick.
Nope, I don't hate it either. I think again, a lot of these guys you're going with dudes who are battle tested. We've talked about it many times on this pod. When you play in the Big Ten and you play in the SEC, I know it's cliche, but it is different. You are playing high level competition, and a lot of these dudes you end up seeing are more pro ready as a result. And for a team that was wildly disappointing compared to expectations, I think you got to go with the guys who are pro ready. And that takes us into New Orleans, who, again, sprinted up for their pick. A lot of different needs for New Orleans.
Yeah, they're
but
already in.
They were plucky this year. I know you and I talked about it a lot throughout the season where, they were in a lot of games. They lost a lot of them, but they were in a lot of games that I think people didn't really see them being in. So I don't know if we're particularly close, but definitely an intriguing team to be joining and getting a top 10 pick as well.
Yeah, their biggest team needs, as listed by ESPN, I'm going to credit where I'm stealing some of this information. Edge, wide receiver, corner. And the way that the board is here, we've talked about Ruben Bain now for a couple picks. He fits here. I think if you're a really strong believer in a Mekhi Lemon or a Jordan Tyson, wouldn't be shocking. Caleb Downs could also make sense on this team, but I think we're looking at a Ruben Bain selection here. Now, what depends... we hinted at it earlier. Ruben Bain measured with extremely short arms. I don't think the exact number is going to elude me. That's why I'm trying to find it here in the Beast. But he measured, which this isn't going to mean anything to normal people like us, but 30, just under 31-inch arms, which is an extreme historical outlier for an edge rusher in the first round. It just doesn't happen. I still think he's a great player, and I wouldn't be as concerned about it because I think that on the film will show that he's compensated. I mean, he played against some NFL not NFL caliber, like NFL quality prospects
Absolutely.
all year long, and showed a lot on film. I wouldn't be as concerned about it because I also just think that the edge position has just like changed. Like you used to only see like monster-sized guys. So I'm thinking Bain here for New Orleans, but I don't know. They're kind of tough to puzzle because they've moved a lot in the draft, so it's hard to know. But
yeah, the more I look at it, the more I like the Sonny Styles pick for the Commanders. I think his style fits them well.
He's so good. Like he's so good, and I think the Commanders. We talked about this in some of our season wrap up. They had so many needs and just need players, and they had like basically a start over. So much age, just getting younger and explosive at a lot of positions, faster. it was a priority. I think he's going to be really key in helping to turn that defense around. I do like that pick a lot for them. I'd have to look to see. It didn't strike me as an immediate need for them, but I haven't looked at their depth chart for linebacker in a hot second. So, yeah, I mean, they could use it. They definitely could use him there. They don't necessarily have like a locked in Mike linebacker.
So looking at the teams again here, the Giants having a second top 10 pick here coming up, and a lot of the receivers that kind of started creeping into that top 10 discussion still available as of right now, and you assume Bain is going to go to one of either New Orleans or Cleveland, and I think you got to look at Fano at one of these picks as well. The Giants have a chance to not only get an edge rusher here, but also go and get their wide receiver. I think it could be interesting if you are high on Mekhi Lemon or you're looking at Jordan Tyson. It could be a very interesting double here, and the Giants could end up having a really nice top 10.
Yeah, I think I think Cleveland with their 2 first-round picks has to be going offensive line and wide receiver, and the order just will depend on how they feel that the board is going to shake out. So I feel like we're going to see Bain here at number 8 when we come back from commercial. Fano seems like a safe bet for number 9, and then like you said, the Giants. Somebody that might have been a little bit higher of a reach outside of Tate at 5, you could still walk away here with an impact receiver for sure, and it won't feel like as much of a stretch.
And getting an impact,
and then it becomes we get to a. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, and then it becomes kind of a watching game of we're out of the top 10, we're in more realistic range for a Caleb Downs selection.
Absolutely. I'd be very intrigued by Caleb Downs to Dallas situation, a team that their defense was bleeding. Dallas is picking at 12 this year. Also interested in seeing where my boy Omar Cooper Jr. goes. Someone that definitely climbed. Someone that definitely climbed on the draft boards that second half of the season. Amazing what a toe tap catch at Penn State will do for you, but. I think he could potentially be, going to maybe 16, 17-ish range. But we'll see. I'm very interested to see where they go with this.
Yeah, I've heard there was a lot of chatter about the Cowboys maybe moving up for one of the defensive prospects. I would have maybe when the trade flashed for the Chiefs, I would have not have been shocked to see that as Dallas moving up from 12 to 6. But, obviously it was the Chiefs moving from 9 to 6. So I'm curious here to see. I think if Caleb makes it to the Cowboys, it makes perfect sense, especially if Bain is gone. And Keldrick Falk is kind of I wouldn't say a controversial, but he's kind of an interesting prospect because he is an edge rusher, but he's more polished as a run defender, and there's pass rush upside that just hasn't been realized yet. So it depends on how teams will see that, moving forward. But interested that Jordan Tyson is Mel Kiper's number 2 available prospect. He must have less concern about the injury than others, the injury history, but.
While we're waiting for the pick to come in here, how do you feel about Field Yates' suit tonight? He's one of the only few guys that we've seen actually wearing a tie tonight, too.
I don't know that I've noticed Field Yates' fit, so call it out next time he's on TV. And
I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like a darker rose look to it.
I think Goodell is rocking like this. I just got out of the club at Miami fit.
He doesn't care anymore.
It's. I feel like he cared more when it was in his basement.
Right?
What a time.
Know. What a time in the world.
What a crazy draft that was. He's showing a lot of chest. He's showing some chest.
He's showing some major chest. I wouldn't even mind if you unbuttoned one more.
The New Orleans Saints have selected Jordan Tyson. Wow.
Wow.
Did we even talk about Jordan Tyson here?
very briefly.
We talked about him. We talked about him at 9. We didn't really spend a lot of time here at 8.
That's a reach, I think, for them.
He tore ligaments in 2022. He's got a hamstring. He has an extensive injury history, but when he has been on the field,
he has been on the field.
And really good. Devastating knee injury in 2022. Some hamstring injuries. A lot of injury history with Jordan Tyson, but I don't think he's finished a season healthy.
I don't think so. So I'm looking at this now. This opens some things up. Where is Ruben Bain gonna fall?
So that's what I'm interested. Like it feels like he could fall. I mean, I don't know. I definitely don't think it's Cleveland. They could use depth on the edge, but not at 9.
No.
New York's not going to take him at 10 because they just took Arvell Reese, and again, they still have highly compensated edge rushers. You're not going to double up here. No. Miami could make sense to keep him home. But Miami, I have no. When we get to the Dolphins pick, I'm just going to throw up my hands because they have needs literally on the entire roster. And so, like, attempting to forecast, especially with a new GM and a new structure where it's like we don't really have any history to rely on, not knowing, like, what he might do. Or what they might do there. Like, I don't know. They definitely could use Ruben Bain, but I don't know, man. It's interesting. I feel like if he gets past Miami, he could slide.
He could definitely slide. And, a lot of these dudes in the top 10, outside of Mendoza, there was a ton of leeway, I think. I think you had the top 4 guys.
It was an intriguing draft for that reason, yeah.
There's not a lot of lock-in-place people. Man, Jordan Tyson just overcome with emotion. I love it.
Yeah, I can't imagine, especially like knowing and having demonstrated your skill, and just like your body constantly betraying you, but still managing to like reach this pinnacle. Like, man, I mean, he is overwhelmed.
Yeah, he is feeling it. And you know what? There was talk during the NBA draft a few years ago where some of the more cranky people in the world were like, why are all these dudes crying? Why are all these Let them feel it. Let them feel it. If you worked your whole life to make it to this point, especially someone like him who, when that knee injury went down, he probably thought it was done, right?
Yeah.
That doubt sets in. I can't even imagine the feelings. But, no, it's amazing. These dudes have been working their whole life. Some of them have been playing since they were 4 or 5 years old, and this means everything to them. And if I'm drafting somebody, I want to have them show emotion. I want them to care. I want them to be happy that they're here.
Yeah. While we have a second, Jesse, because I feel like we've kind of covered what we think Cleveland might do here.
Yeah.
While we have a second, you mentioned earlier, I'm going to disagree with something you said earlier. You mentioned you think that the NBA rookies have a larger impact. I think I actually disagree with that take. I think most NFL rookies are day one starters as first round picks. Later in the draft, a little bit different, obviously. It's a larger roster. It can be harder to make an impact. But like these guys, these 8 players that we've seen drafted here are going to step right in and be expected to start. Jordan Tyson, especially, like you have Chris Olave, you have Jordan Tyson. That's a very talented top 2 receiver duo. If he can stay healthy, if both of them can stay healthy. Now, would I have built the whole ship out of Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson together? No, but I'm on my couch and Mickey Loomis is in a luxurious office with infinite job security, despite many missteps. So the difference between us. I do want to shout out the Saints have finally, after years of cap hell, after this season, their books are clear.
Finally.
Which took like multiple years of work to get there. But all right, so like our top, we're pretty confident that we're gonna see a lineman here for Cleveland. We've talked about Spencer Fano. Ola Yane is the top guard on the board from Penn State. Francis Maui-Noa from Miami, an offensive tackle, also an option. Monroe Freeling from Georgia. Caden Proctor from Alabama. I would expect that Caleb Lomu from Utah. It's probably one of those guys we're looking at here. I would expect one of the tackles. I think we're thinking Fano.
Yeah, I think that's where I would go with this. Very interesting.
Spencer Fano, Cleveland Brown. Finally, we've been trying to get him drafted for half an hour.
Poor guy. We've been running propaganda for him.
He's not going. He's going to the
So Cleveland, this man, day one starter there. Their offense, I don't know. I don't remember. It's been so long since we did like a lot of extensive NFL coverage. And obviously we don't get into the weeds on every team, but Cleveland, all 5 of their offensive linemen were free agents this offseason from their starters from this past year. And they've brought back a couple guys and moved in a different direction in a couple ways, but the opportunity is here for Spencer Fano to make an immediate impact with Cleveland.
Look at the group of people he's got around him.
Yeah, it looks like a draft party to be at. The tackle, not always the sexiest pick, but that's your meat and potatoes. Like, I think that's a great pick for Cleveland. You wanted Spencer Fano. He was never going to make it to 21, but I respect the ambition.
We love the hope.
So bad.
Giants pick already in.
Yeah, Giants. I don't know. Caleb Downs looms here for me.
Here's my thing, right? Obviously, GMs are going to have their draft strategies. They're going to have 1,000 contingencies. Based off of what has happened so far, the top 2 receivers off the board, I think you do go with Caleb Downs. And that's my pivot here. I think you go with the guy who is going to end up being one of the top safeties in the game. He just has it, you know?
You also need a guard pretty bad. Could it be a Yane? Wow, they're already making this pick. Because he's not at the draft, I guess. Francis Maui-Noah, offensive tackle, Miami.
It's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Great pick. They need, that's a pick where he may not necessarily start on day one for you, but they need another tackle opposite of Andrew Thomas, and even Andrew Thomas has injury concern. So, I mean, this team is so desperate for line play that they re-signed Evan Neal, which was like a complete bust of a pick. Sorry, my guy, Roll Tide, for the Giants. We have a trade here.
Okay.
Dallas is trading from 12 to 11.
They want Caleb.
So, and for those at home that might be like, well, why would they do that? What that usually means is somebody else has offered Miami a trade, and they called Dallas and said, hey, somebody's trying to trade up for probably the guy that you want to take here. Do you want to beat their offer? So I would imagine that's usually what would happen. I'm looking for some trade details. I don't think we have them yet. But we do have the Cowboys trading up here, probably for Caleb, it seems like. It could be Bane. I mean, they could use Edge.
Yeah.
But I think it's got to be Caleb. Well, ESPN...
Before we move on from Francis here, just want to give a shout out to American Samoa. Absolutely incredible island. And also give them voting rights in our elections. They're Americans. Give them full citizenship and voting rights. They're an American territory, and they deserve to vote for who represents them.
100%.
Right.
Interested to see. Jeremiah Love, by the way, guaranteed $52.5 million as the 3rd overall pick. Hefty. Still looking for... I don't think we have trade details yet.
It still has Dallas listed as 11 and 12.
They just updated it on my end, so I'm sure it'll update with you. Miami is now showing up on my feed as well.
Because I was like,
I mean, safety is a glaring need for Dallas, but they also could use an edge. It's Bane or Downs. It's just a question of... I feel like it's got to be Caleb. If you feel threatened to trade up.
Yeah. I think he fits well there.
We'll see here. I need my insiders to have trade details. Don't just tell me there's a trade. Come on, guys. I want to know how to judge this move.
Yeah, we were talking about Lynn Swan being able to suit up. I think Desmond Howard could still suit up too.
Jeremiah Love, not a popular pick here online. Mostly for he gets the most guaranteed money of any running back in NFL history.
Wow.
By sheer nature of being the 3rd overall pick. Wow. Excuse me.
All right.
This is a great fit for Maui Noah.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
He looks
the whole family is dripped out. They look great.
Shades on the draft stage, always a choice.
Is that man wearing a Forrest Gump Alabama jersey in the crowd? Did I just see that right?
Probably, yeah. He's usually one in every crowd. Pun intended. Well, Jesse, we talked about the shortened pick clock. We're about an hour and 9 minutes into the technical start, but really we're under about the hour mark of when Vegas went on the clock, and we've made it through 10 picks. So.
Yeah, and honestly, it's been a very enjoyable experience so far. I think I feel like this pacing helps a lot.
Okay. Pick 11 in exchange for pick 12, 177, and 180. Okay. So we're looking at 2 5th-round picks to move up one spot. I feel like that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
If you want to ensure that you're getting your guy, I feel like that's... As long as there was competition and Miami had another offer. If you're just doing this because you're nervous that Miami will take them, I don't know about that. But, we'll see.
Commercial time. I'm getting a Gatorade commercial, and obviously we love Caitlin Clark on here, but like 75% less sugar. Isn't that just what G2 was? They keep rebranding their diet Gatorade, and they had
Gatorade doesn't know what they want, man.
Come on now.
It's just like the city edition jerseys and all the sports where it's like you change a couple things or do something new just for the sake of doing it new. Or every time that Coke's like, it's a new Coke recipe. Or Coke Zero, now it's Coke Zero Sugar, and soon it'll probably be something else.
Hey, but
Coke
the
Platinum
exception to the City Edition jersey, the Texas Rangers one, I know Cheyenne was high on those. Those things go crazy.
Some of them are great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's just like we don't got to do it every year.
How do you feel about San Diego's new one?
San Diego's new one. I know that but I'm going to look at it so I can give you some honest feedback.
I was really feeling the new ones.
City Connect 2026. Let's see what they look like. If you can hear my dog barking, somebody probably is just walking past their house. Oh, these do look sick. Look at these. Did you see these, Shannon?
No. Are they
They're Dia de los Muertos themed.
Stop! No, wait, don't make me a Padres.
Yeah, they have a sleeve patch with a La Catrina.
I know what I'm buying Cheyenne for Christmas, by the way.
All the city connects.
I can't believe I still haven't bought a Cardinals one yet. I like the Lou.
The Lou?
Yeah.
I don't, but I don't like.
Oh my god, that hat goes dummy.
You're watching the draft content here.
I still think that the Tejas is. I think it goes harder.
The Tejas goes crazy.
Like it's so detailed. Like.
Yeah, that is.
The Padres is good, but the Tejas is so dummy. Like it's so good.
Huh. It's crazy.
Right.
All right. Bold as hell to do it in a red state like that used to be part of Mexico.
Rangers also famously the team that refuses to do a Pride Night. So
the Rangers
it's also
interesting. Famously named after an organization that's whole point was to catch runaway slaves.
And you know that they have a really controversial Texas Ranger statue.
Yes.
That they recently acquired.
Yes.
Because where it was got rid of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot of sociopolitical.
With Los Rangers, shout out.
Hey,
Daisy.
We're a versatile pod.
We are a versatile pod. Cowboys pick is in, and Roger Goodell is making a selection. And my dog is going crazy over here. All right, Caleb Downs, are you a Cowboy? You are a Cowboy. It is Caleb Downs.
Yep.
Oh.
I feel bad for him,
kind of.
but it's the right pick for Dallas.
He at least he made some money in college. Had a good career up until this point. No, Caleb Downs is a monster. Like
Yeah.
I love the pick for Dallas.
I do too.
Can't believe he's gonna have to drive to Arlington.
He's a
every
real
day.
difference maker.
Do you let if you're Miami, do you let Ruben Bain slip through? I feel like he's the most obvious pick here.
I don't know. They need offensive. They need everything.
They need everything.
I don't know. You need a wide. Their top needs are listed as wide receiver, cornerback, edge, tight end, safety. I think that I'm curious. It's always hard with tight ends. Kenyon Sadiq to me is really intriguing as a prospect. Would I take him at 12 when I have so many other needs? I don't know. I feel like this is Ola Iyane or Makai, or it could be Ruben Bain. I don't know. There's some. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Jesse. You know, sometimes it's good to take a prospect and keep them where they're from. Sometimes I feel like you run a little bit of risk of like they're too comfortable. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't really want to make that point necessarily because like it really depends on like a guy's background.
No, I get what you're saying. No,
but
I get what you're saying.
I don't know. I feel like it could be Bain or Iyane here, but we're starting to get into Makai Lemon, Casey Concepcion, whoever you deem as wide receiver 3 territory. I don't know that they're the 12th best. They're like the 12th best player in a given draft class, but
sometimes you got to go with the
know.
fit. Man, this mock that I'm looking at has Makai Lemon going 27th. Yay, man.
Yeah, Lemon. I heard some noise about like the Rams like Makai Lemon at 13 maybe, but it really depends. I don't know. Like I have a hard time thinking he makes it to 27. But
how would you feel about Kenyon Sadiq to the Rams and that kind of offense?
I like it a lot. You know, I think that they already, you know, they used a second round pick on Terrence Ferguson last year. So in the Rams are one of those teams where usually you can kind of look at like teams' histories. Like I can tell you which position group the Eagles are picking from. You know, depending on when it doesn't even matter when they pick. I can tell you what they value in the first round historically. But the Rams F them pick strategy means we really don't have a lot of insight into how they use first round picks.
Right.
Do they view the ceiling that Sadiq could bring your offense as worth that investment, even though you've made an investment in that position recently?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, you can play Ferguson and Sadiq at the same time. You run a lot of 2 and 3 tight end personnel groupings. I don't know. The Rams, I feel like a pass catcher makes a lot of sense because I guess they don't know how seriously they did, but they at least explored Devontae Adams trades this offseason, despite clearly like being in their Super Bowl window. So they're already they're thinking about their future at wide receiver.
I think so. And a 4.39 40 from a tight end, with his size and strength.
He's a freak athlete.
I love on CBS his strengths listed. It says crazy tuned up athlete with no fat to speak of on his frame. It said this man is a chiseled Greek god.
Yeah, he's there's some nuts athletes. You know who I forgot about when thinking about Arvell Reese on the Giants? Bro, they have Abdul Carter, who they took number 2.
Oh
they
my
have
gosh.
Burns, Carter, and Thibodeau. And now Arvell Reese.
Woo!
So like I like the draft. I like the pick because if you don't view Thibodeau as a long-term solution, then you're preparing for that without putting same reason I said earlier, you're not putting a lot on Reese, but it is an interesting logjam. All right, the Twitter I saw the beginning of a notification for their pick, but I closed my watch because I want to see here a quote-unquote live Roger Goodell at the podium for the Miami Dolphins.
Team in massive transition time here.
They took Caden Proctor of Alabama.
Okay.
Roll damn Tide.
Okay.
Woo!
Ben, I'm gonna defer
right,
to you here. Good value.
Big boy. Oh, dang it!
I
I
think
like him too.
Caden Proctor is a great player.
Sorry.
12 is a little higher than most analysts thought, but he is incredible size and athleticism. He's 6'7", 350. He was a freshman All-American. Yeah, I know. That's just like a little more routine. Caden Proctor was part of some really interesting personnel packages they'll probably show here, where he actually split out and caught passes and scored touchdowns. I think he has had some struggles, but I think he very much is a Pro Bowl caliber prospect for sure. I like Caden Proctor a lot. I may be a little higher on him because of bias, but this is a dude that's gonna move people.
That is a wall of a human. Good dude.
Yeah, this first highlight, he just looks enormous.
His head is almost
He
like
cut
at the
ball.
top of all of the stanchions here, where they have all the logos of the teams.
Cheyenne in the chat. Can't wait to see the OT left at pick 21 for the Steelers. Get ready to learn Ty Simpson, buddy. So here's a clip, Jesse. I know I'm ahead of you, but you can see Caden Proctor scoring a touchdown against Georgia, split out wide, or a near touchdown. Also, just a fire fit. The lion gold necklace.
The lion goes crazy.
Is sending me.
Oh,
Also, a man crying, struggling to keep his emotions in check.
Here's the thing. That's a big dude. Roger is not the shortest man himself. Like he's there with
No,
him.
he's gonna dwarf his ass here.
All right.
I actually really like. I feel like this was introduced a couple of years ago. This little like mirror that they have in the hallway where they like pose with that team hat. I like it. It's nice.
They get to see themselves.
It's a nice little moment to like raise the crowd up. Dude, his hands are the size of Roger Goodell's head. Hold on, I gotta know what his hand size is.
His finger tattoos are probably the same size as the ones on my forearm here.
I'm going back to the big board here. Let's see full draft
Emphasis on
results.
big.
Maybe that will help. I want to see Caden Proctor's hand size. Let's see.
I think Kenyon Sadiq
9
would
and
be
7/8 inches.
good. Gosh.
excuse me.
He's got 10-inch hands.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
ridiculous. Rams pick is in, Jesse.
Yep. I'm really interested to
we
see.
were talking about.
I would like to see Kenyon Sadiq on one of the next 3 picks between the Rams, the Ravens,
Yeah,
or
I feel
Tampa.
confident that it's not Reuben Bain because they have so many already. They already have an overload of edge players. I mean, or they could just be like. I guess the Giants have proven that they're willing to just like have like 4 guys, so maybe the Rams will too. Kenyon Sadiq or Mekhi Lemon makes the most sense to me here. You could take so Jermod McCoy is pretty high on big boards, but he has also some injury concern. And I've heard that he could fall out of this class, or I mean, not out of the class, Jesus, his first round, because he didn't play at all this past year because he had an ACL injury in at the end of 24, or it might have even been in training camp. Yeah, I was in January 2025 during off-season training, so he didn't have any 2025 tape, but his 2024 tape is insane. They could, I don't know, could they go Iane here? They need a tackle more than they need a guard.
I feel like
And
most
we just
teams.
saw the tackle run has started.
Yeah, I feel like most teams, if you pick a tackle, it's a good pick, right? I don't know if anyone taking a tackle prospect has really ever fully regretted it unless they bust it out, but you got to
I can tell you a bunch of teams that regret tackle.
But at the end of the day, right, like positionally speaking, if you can find a good tackle in the first round, it's a good draft.
And historically, your good tackles come in the first round. There are some positions where it's like we've talked about, like receiver, defensive back. There are some positions where you're going to find value in a later round. Offensive tackle, quarterback, edge rusher are three that the vast majority of your top performers at those positions are drafted in the first 32. So I don't know. I really don't know what the Rams are going to do here. Could they take a swing on a tackle a year early, maybe, and view that like we're not usually picking this high? Should we swing for something that we're not typically in range to grab? I don't know. I'm interested. The top tackles on the board here would be Monroe Freeling and Caleb Lomu. But three of the Blake Miller also part of that conversation. Max Iannachor from Arizona State. You've got three of the last four picks at tackle, though. So I'm wondering if this makes somebody aggressive that's looking to move up and ensure they get one of those tackles.
So, question for you here, since we got some time with this commercial break. Colts got a second-round pick. What do you think they're aiming for?
I don't know, because now all of a sudden you've got this Kenny Moore trade request. I'm curious to see. I want to see what they're saying. So the Colts, ESPN is listing their needs. I would have told you this. Edge is number one. Then they also have wide receiver, linebacker, safety, center. Their first pick is 47. So they're gonna wait a bit. I think if there's a front seven defender available when they get to the clock, I think that has to be the selection. Gypsy, I'm sorry, I would like my phone. Thank you, Kat. I feel like I don't know. I can tell you what the Colts are going to take is they're going to sort by athleticism and then just start drafting at their positions in need.
The old when the Raiders were still in Oakland, just going to the speed, clicking sort.
Yeah. The Colts are like, who has the best RAS score, and do they play a position we want? If so, add to cart. I don't know. It's hard for me. I struggle as a non-draft expert to forecast like the second round because I think especially it just matters so much. Like, what are the runs? Like, are we going to see a receiver run right before them? They could use another receiver since they traded Pittman. But is that worth a second-round pick? The offensive line has had a lot of attrition in the last couple of years. Do they invest up top as for another lineman? Are they a team that takes a DB if there's a good DB that makes sense there, especially given that Kenny Moore apparently doesn't want to be there? All right, so I haven't seen this pick, but I've seen the first couple words of the tweet about it, and it says a major draft surprise. So whatever the Rams do here, Jesse, we might be ready to I'm glad we're seated. Maybe it is Sadiq. I don't know. That would be I don't know that that's a major surprise. Ty Simpson is the 13th overall pick in the draft. Okay, so hear me out, right? For the team, I fucking love it. All right? Ty Simpson, the number one knock on him right now is sample size, right? He hasn't played a lot of games. He needs more experience. He may not be ready right away. This also makes more sense why he came to the draft because I was like, it's a bit ambitious, bro. But he must have had a promise. You're the Rams. You have an extra. Well, you already used your second first-round pick to get Trent McDuffie. You're picking higher than you usually do. Stafford, you feel comfortable about this year, maybe even next year, but you know the cliff is coming. Take a swing on a top prospect, but 13 for Ty Simpson is that's happy. I'm so happy for my guy Roll Tide. LOL Cheyenne saying or not in response to my get ready to learn Ty Simpson. Hope excited about the pick here as a fellow Bama Gorley.
Here's my thing.
This is stunning.
This is
a major draft surprise.
Yeah, this is the first one that I'm like, okay, this one's a shock. This one is absolutely a shock. I had him dialed into Pittsburgh for like a week now. I think for his career,
they're so shell-shocked from Kenny Pickett.
Oh, yeah. To me, for Ty's career's sake, I think this is probably one of two of the best places for him to go. I think this
is his best landing spot.
truly, I think it's one of those two places, this or San Francisco, to have that kind
You
of.
think
coach
San
and
Francisco's
development.
in the quarterback market? They just gave Purdy
No.
all
I'm
that
just saying,
money.
if he had to land somewhere for his development's sake, those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Position room notwithstanding.
Right.
Okay, I
Right.
understand. Yeah.
Right. And honestly, this is the number one if you are considering position room with the age of Matthew Stafford. Again, I don't know if I would have taken the pick here, but if you are believing that he can turn into that guy and you got time to spare, which you do, I think time will tell.
You can afford to let him develop. You don't need this number 13 pick to come in and make an immediate impact for you to be a good team. It's a luxury. And like, look, the first 6 or 7 games of tape that he put on the field last year were insane.
Yes.
Now he did tail off dramatically in the second half of the season. I think some of it could have been injury, some of it could have just been I don't know. That they clearly feel comfortable enough with what they saw that they feel like he could develop. And I agree. If you're going to draft him and expect him to come in on day one and carry your franchise, probably not going to happen. You know, I don't want to forecast his career before it even starts, but it would be I wouldn't like the pick as much if it was a team prepare, like if the Jets took him at 16, for example, and we're like, you're our starter.
Right.
I don't think I would like that, but it's a perfect landing spot for Ty Simpson.
And I think more than anything, you trust Sean McVay. You know, obviously there are people above him making decisions, but they're talking to him and they're saying, hey, we got to start thinking about a quarterback. You know, he's done his due diligence on this, and you got to trust your guy. You know, if he thinks he can turn him into that dude, then you make the pick. You know, so I think the Rams have done enough over the last several years with the decisions that they've made to earn the benefit of the doubt here.
So, a little bit of context from Adam Schefter. This is the first round pick the Rams acquired from the Falcons, who in 2024 did not give Kirk Cousins a heads up that they planned to select Michael Penix. The Rams called Stafford, it's being reported earlier today, to tell him that they were taking Ty Simpson.
Smart.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also a little bit of a different situation, right? Stafford's been there a while. He knows that he's towards the end of his career, and Kirk, obviously older, but he had just signed a monster extension.
That remains one of the most stunning.
Big free agent contract.
Yeah, that remains one of the most stunning moments, I think, in draft night history to me, at least in recent memory.
The Rams not doing the draft house this year? Am I learning this? No Airbnb for the draft for the Rams this year?
That's crazy.
Ravens pick is in. Jesse, I think the hardest thing about this stream for us is going to be, are we going to make it this entire first round without any breaks?
I mean, we can take breaks as we need, right?
Yeah, I mean, we won't pause the stream, but wow, Ravens are already at the podium. All right. We didn't even talk about what the Ravens might do here. We're so shocked. This is Ola Iyane. I'm calling it right now. There's clear and obvious team need and player available. Yeah, he just made the pick.
Yep.
This is I think outside of not Ty Simpson, Jesus. Outside of Mendoza to the Raiders, I think this was the most consistent mock.
Yep.
That I saw. Buck pick already in. The most consistent mocked pick that I saw. Absolutely.
Another massive guy.
Yeah, another Leaf Garland, or I love the vibes of this draft, man.
So good.
I know that's not what that's called. I just can't think of the actual name. Yeah, Ola Iyane, the top guard in the class. You know, this is the same team that drafted Tyler Linderbaum the year that he was kind of a can't-miss center prospect. Again, I'm not an expert in offensive line play, but people that I trust say this guy's the real deal. And there's a clear and obvious need in Baltimore for him to come in and start at guard. Wow, Drew Aller just like heaving that shit to the moon, and it did not get there.
Hey, and that's the second pick from American Samoa.
This guy. I'm sorry, I haven't paid as much attention to these highlights because we've been chopping it up, but he's mauling these people. That poor edge rusher just got blindsided off. Putting the guard in motion is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tampa Bay makes a lot of sense to me as a Ruben Bain team.
I think so. We honestly kind
And
of
not just
forgot about
because
him.
Ruben Bain is the top player available, but they just make a lot of sense to me.
Could you
As
imagine if
they
he
need
falls
an
to
edge player.
Detroit?
They have. I would like that for if I was a Detroit fan,
I
but
would
I
love
think
that.
he's got to be a buck. I mean, their top edge rusher. Edge rusher is their top need. If we just go to the 2026 Bucks roster, because I can't remember his name, but it's somebody that it's like, yeah, you very clearly need a guy here at the edge spot. Their number one edge rusher is technically, well, it depends on how you feel about Kalijah Cansey, but it's Yaya Diaby, really. Solid player, but you need another guy here.
Yeah, and the CBS mock I'm
that
looking
goes
at right now has Messidor going from Miami going to Tampa here, kind of a reach pick. You know, if you're already looking at edge and Ruben Bain falls into your lap, I think you take him.
I don't know if Mesidor is a. So the issue with Mesidor, I think Mesidor is an awesome prospect. The one flag on him is that he is his age.
Yeah.
He's already 25. He just turned 25 18 days ago. But if you're a team like I can see it for Tampa Bay now that we're in the. This is where it gets interesting because now that we're not in the top. I mean, this is pick 15, right? We're almost halfway through the first round. You can start thinking you're going to get to these teams more that are in more current contention windows.
Right.
And if you're a team like I think Mesidor makes the most sense for if he's still on the board when we get way back to their second pick, the Chiefs, they're competing right now. Like for Kansas City, if Mesidor is on the board, like and you're like, all right, his rookie contract, like we know we're going to get him in his prime, and he may not necessarily be a 15-year player, but an 8 to 10-year player. Like we know that we can get some good value out of him. That makes more sense to me, and that's where then you start to really look at the two prospects, like and who you prefer, and it makes more. Bain, I think, is the better player, but the arm length measurement is real. That's a concern that teams are going to have. Fair or unfair, that's a real thing.
Be hilarious if it turns out to be absolutely nothing, though, and that can be kind of his calling card for the rest of his career.
Right. I mean, he could end up with a 120 sack career, and it wouldn't shock me.
Going back to our Colts conversation and looking at that downstream guy I'm looking at for the Colts, and again, I know this is an IU bias thing for me, but Elijah Surratt, I think, fits that Michael Pittman role well, where you're going to have a technical route runner. He's not going to blow you away with speed, but good hands and able to get to the exact spot that you need. I think if you're looking for a receiver for the Colts, you don't need downfield threat. You don't need speed. You already have two of those guys. You need someone who can run a 4-yard slant on 3rd and 4, catch the ball, dive across the line, get that first down. And I think we're going to miss Pittman quite a bit with that. And I think Surratt is somebody who can definitely fill in that role for the Colts.
Yeah, that's certainly a skill set that makes sense in Indy. Briefly, so the Colts have 2 picks tomorrow, a second and a third round pick. The Broncos only have 1 pick tomorrow. Obviously, they traded their first round pick for Jalen Waddle, a trade that we both loved. They don't pick until pick 62 tomorrow. Just briefly, I think that they could use some front seven depth for sure on that team. If there's a good tight end prospect available, I'm interested in that for Denver. Otherwise, I don't know. You could go in the trenches. Maybe you got an older offensive line. While we're talking about our teams that don't pick today, while we wait to see who Tampa Bay takes. So you think are you with me here? You think Bain probably?
If I had the clipboard, that's who I would pick. That's what I'm thinking.
And there's the visual if you're watching the draft at home of PNC Park right there.
Just gorgeous.
God, I gotta see a game there. Like it just the vibes. There's no.
I got to go on a tour of ballparks.
I take trips with some of my other friends that I hope to continue where we go to games. We should go to a game sometime.
We should.
And pick like a ballpark, do a little weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I got to travel.
All right,
together
pick us
more.
in. We do. I don't think we really have much. Goodell sharing that the Bucks have taken Ruben Bain Jr.
Good
So
pick.
he doesn't stay in Miami, but he stays in state. Great
good
value
pick.
for them here at 50.
Excellent pick. At
Great
15.
value. Heck of a player. Heck
Yep.
of a player.
If I'm a Bucks fan, I am very happy with that one.
And just like one of those happy middle grounds where a team need matches a best player available mentality. We spent a couple minutes talking about his fit on the Bucks. The Jets here, pick is in. They're flying in here. I think that this could be a receiver spot.
Could this be Omar Cooper?
It could be Omar Cooper. I don't know. So Lemon, Cooper, and Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M. For me, they're all, and even Denzel Boston from Washington. It just kind of comes down to what your stylistic preference is and what your needs are.
I love Omar Cooper, but I think I'm going Lemon here if I'm picking, especially since they already have Garrett Wilson. I think Lemon's got a higher ceiling overall, but I think either one of them would be a solid pick for him.
I kind of like the idea of Denzel Boston being that X receiver and then Garrett Wilson working a little bit more inside for them. But yes, honey, yes, Cheyenne, you can come on the ballpark trip in the chat there.
Well, of course, no. The four of us travel well together. We proved that during the epic weekend that we had.
At Epic. Ruben Bain is, look, we're going to hear about his arms. Mel Kiper, I think, is saying the same thing, which joy. But he knows how to work the edge. He's strong. He's crafty. He's got moves in his toolbox. I think I believe in him as a prospect.
I do too.
I understand the slide, but I think he's a damn good player.
I understand the measurables and all the things that go into it, and there's a reason why those things exist, but at the end of the day, the tape don't lie, and I think sometimes, and the Colts have been guilty of this plenty in the last several years with their drafting, sometimes they overthink it, and a guy that was going projected top 10 for the vast majority of this draft cycle falling to 15 because of arms, I don't know how much that makes sense to me, and I think Tampa is going to end up being very happy with this pick in the long run.
He just looks like a Buccaneer, dude. Like, I'm looking at him here with the cap on. This man, like, this is just it's a good fit. It's a good vibes fit. He's got kind of that edge to him, and he's going to have that chip on his shoulder from this perceived slide that I think just fits stylistically with Tampa Bay. I like the fit. All right, so Jets here, pick us in. We talked about receiver. Is there anything else you'd think about here for them? Looking at who's available, I mean, you could go offensive line.
Yeah, you could go offensive line. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not seeing, because you talk about the window, right? You need younger prospects here. Monroe Freeling, definitely an option. But I think you go skill player here. I think you go receiver, and you just get talent onto the roster right now. And you can't go with older prospects. You got to go with a young guy here. And I think I really do think you go receiver.
I'd also, I don't know, Dylan Thieneman is interesting to me. It's not their biggest need. Purdue legend, but I like him a lot. I think he's going to be really good. You technically have a need if you're the Jets a little bit. It's their 5th listed need on ESPN of cornerback, and Jermod McCoy, of course, as we mentioned, is still available out of Tennessee with the injury history. If you prefer Chris Johnson out of San Diego State, I think it's receiver here. Let's see what Roger gives us at the podium.
Oh, Roger.
So we've got Kenyon Sadiq.
All right.
As a New York Jet, Jesse, your initial thoughts?
I like the pick just simply from a skill standpoint. Rest in peace to the first few years of his career for not having anyone that's worth throwing to him. But if I'm the Jets, it makes sense. It's a good pick. If I'm him, I'm like, right? That's tough. That's tough.
It's interesting to me that they used this is another one of those where last year you used the second round pick on Mason Taylor. Clearly, not a first round pick, but clearly a pick of you believe that he's a key part of your team. And again, a lot of teams run 2 and 3 tight end personnel.
Right. It's an investment at a second round for sure.
It's interesting to pair 2 more receiver oriented tight ends together like that when you don't have a quarterback answer. But if you believe in the ceiling here, and I believe in his ceiling, I see what they see.
Yeah, I see it.
So now, I just the Jets. We talked about it at the top of the draft when they were on the board with number 2. It's just, I was gonna say it's probably a 1 quarterback first round, but it's literally not even a 1 quarterback top 13.
No.
Does it concern you at all that Kenyon Sadiq is from Idaho? What's the track record of Idaho players panning out?
Right. Obviously Oregon saw enough of him to make it happen, playing in the Big Ten over there. But, I mean, it'd be cool. Be cool to have the Land of Potatoes have their own dude.
Oh, I guess Colston Loveland was from Idaho last year. So
really?
The first tight end 1 in the past 2 drafts is from Idaho. That's hilarious that I say that, and Adam Schefter hears me. I heard you talking shit, so here's a tweet. Okay, so the Lions on the board here. We were hopeful for them that Ruben Bain was here. The top edge rusher available, which is a need for them to pair with Aiden Hutchinson, is Keldrick Falk. I don't know that receiver is necessarily an extreme need, so I don't know if they're looking at that, but they could use a tackle. And we still have Monroe Freeling, who's an uber athletic mover from Georgia. Just a freak athlete.
Could this be available. A Blake Miller from Clemson?
It could be a Blake Miller. I feel like we're at the point now where Caleb Lomu is also an option out of Utah. I think we're at the point now in the tackle class where they're more tightly together. And honestly, I felt after Fano is really kind of like pick your flavor. Some people had... for example, Dane Brugler here on this big board had Monroe Freeling higher on his big board than Caden Proctor. But it's truly like more of a eye of the beholder situation at this point. And Maui Noah was offensive tackle too. I felt like there was Fano and Maui Noah were consensus top 2 tackles. And then after that, there was more interpretation. But
I'm also wondering if this is a chance for secondary as well. Maybe go bolster the secondary a little bit on that defensive side.
Yeah, you could take Thieneman or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo as safeties. Jermod McCoy is, again, technically the top corner on the board, but if you're scared of his injury history, Chris Johnson out of San Diego State available. Avion Terrell also, we haven't mentioned his name yet, from Clemson, has the pedigree. His brother is a Pro Bowl corner, and he showed some good tape. Colton Hood is kind of a riser. He's also a Tennessee corner.
How about some more offensive line here? Maybe like a Caleb Lomu out of Utah?
Yeah, I don't see. If I'm the Lions and your identity is the offense, your identity and your rise has kind of been like our offense kicks ass, and specifically our offensive line, and that's kind of like faltered in recent years. I would more throw like a Monroe Freeling, who, you're going to have to do probably a little bit more work. He's a more raw prospect, but the athleticism is off the charts.
Yeah, especially in a Dan Campbell-led team.
Yeah, I think if you feel comfortable in your coaching, and you can bring him along nicely, he makes sense culturally for me as a Lion. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll have to see. They don't, teams like Detroit, like similar to the Ravens who just picked and the Rams, you're not usually expecting to pick in these ranges. And not that these are like premium first round picks, but you're the Lions. of late you're expecting to be picking 25 or later. So having this mid first round pick, a chance to maybe grab a slightly higher caliber of prospect, even in a down draft, it's a unique opportunity for them.
Definitely. A lot of the mocks I'm looking at actually had Caden Proctor in this spot too.
Yeah, he was a popular mock here because he was that freak athlete, tough offensive lineman. So maybe they keep the same energy and just with the lineman that's available. And then after them are the Vikings.
Yeah, I was just about to say, looking forward to the Vikings.
Who the hell knows?
Man, because
I don't remember.
You got two good receivers. If Jordan Addison can keep his head on straight, you're gonna have Kyler there.
Yeah, but your number 3 receiver did just leave, and you have some inconsistency or some doubt about Addison. So maybe receivers in play. They need a safety real bad too.
They do.
Though with all the uncertainty around, or Harrison Smith is both ancient and technically not on your roster, so they strike me as a phenomenon team.
Right.
We have our Make-A-Wish draft selection here, a great draft tradition here.
Amazing draft tradition. I hope they never get rid of it.
Does leave us with a little bit of an awkward pause here as we wait for the selection.
Hey, you know what? Let him have his time.
I think we're thinking offensive line for the Lions, just to kind of like sum up our little pre-pick discussion here.
I think so. Honestly, I kind of forgot that the Lions got Pacheco this offseason.
Yeah, they had to find somebody that runs even angrier than David Montgomery when they traded him.
Pacheco runs like he's angry at the ground.
He runs like exactly. Like he's trying to pound, like he runs better if he stomps into it harder. I was spoiled on this pick, unfortunately. Really should theater mode my watch. But now we've seen it on TV. Blake Miller, the Clemson offensive tackle. One of the options on the board that we forgot to mention there in that final kind of like roundup of available prospects. But, we certainly fits what we would expect there with offensive line for the Lions.
Like what they saw on the tape.
Man out of Clemson. It's a 4-year starter.
3-time All-ACC.
Strong. He has a good good physical profile. His IQ has been highlighted. Doesn't have like off the chart athleticism, but his prototypical size for sure.
I love on his strengths.
He measured at his pro day at 6'6.5", 318.
On his strengths on CBS Sports here, it says that he's solidly built.
Yeah, tree trunk.
If someone told me I was solidly built, it would be the end of my week.
Huge.
Yeah,
Although
this boy's sturdy.
I don't know who this girl is. That's his girlfriend or sister or whoever, but this girl's on his shoulders. Can we get her some sneakers?
Hey, can we also additionally, if they end up getting married and having kids, can IU offer that child a scholarship early?
Yeah, let's get some scholarship offers going. That could be his sister. I don't know. I wasn't able to determine, but whoever that is, tall. All right, so he's not there. So what I like is they're accelerating this draft process when the prospects aren't there. So we are about to see the Vikings pick here.
Yeah, they are cooking.
I feel like it's got to be Dylan Thieneman.
I feel like it has to. Obviously, receiver is a need, but I think you can get another one later.
Caleb Banks, defensive tackle, Florida. We have not mentioned his name yet. That is a bit of a surprise. Caleb Banks is an extremely talented player.
Yep.
He is number 52 on Dane Brugler's draft board. He's a humongous athlete, but he also has some injury history. 6'6", 327. I mean, he has the skill, but not a lot of great career production.
No.
Only 10.5 tackles for loss and 6.5 sacks. A lot of some concerning re-aggravated injury of the same foot. So definitely, including at the end, right before or the night before on-field testing at the NFL Combine. he fractured a bone in his foot, and he's going to be out until June.
Yeah, and someone who's 6'6",
Kind of
320.
our second true shock of the night.
Yes. And I get it. On the good highlights, it's there. But two things, right? Positionally wise, we talked about the two areas they needed most. We didn't even mention interior D-line, right? It's
it's not one of their top 5 needs on the ESPN. I mean, they could use it for sure. You could always use it, but it's just that's interesting.
That is, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that one.
Here's your Omar Cooper pick, by the way. The Panthers are about to take him at 19. I promise you that.
Be a good.
I mean, they could take Lemon, but what they need skill set wise in their receiver room is a yards after the catch opportunist, and that's Omar Cooper to a T.
I could see.
If we're going to commercial here, Jesse, I might. If we're going to commercial, okay, we're going to TV commercial. I'm going to take a quick restroom break. I need you to soliloquy
Me as well.
for about 90 seconds.
We're just going to take a quick TO here because I'm going as well.
So our stream is going to continue, and we will be right back. Oreo, what's the biggest, the best team need and or team selection and fit you like the best so far? He said he wants to think about it. He wants to see all the picks. That's a coward's way out. Excuse me, Troy. Do you need to go outside? I can't really do that for you.
All
buddy.
right. Oreo joining the stream.
Oreo wouldn't tell me his favorite prospect and team match so far. So,
brother, you know you were all in on Arvell Reese. You know you were all in on Arvell.
Even though it's kind of a weird fit.
It's a weird fit, but he was feeling it. He was definitely feeling it.
All right, so Panthers pick is in while we were away there. Appreciate your patience. The podcast that I listen to daily, essentially the Athletic Football Show, they started before us and they will not have taken a break and will go longer. But we are not built like that. We are not professionals. We are not built
different.
Hi, Troy. Thank you for putting your head under the laptop.
I think this should be the Lemon pick. I think this is where Lemon should go. I love Omar, but
I like Cooper as a better team fit for them. But it's probably Lemon considering he's on.
Would this be 3 consecutive years with a first-round receiver for Carolina?
Yes, but Xavier Legette, I feel like we can say is a miss.
Yes,
and you don't want to let cost fallacy keep you from improving your football team.
That's true. Using some SAT.
It is Monroe Freeling instead. Okay, you know what? That's not a terrible pick.
That's a good pick.
Because they have Ike Ekwonu, who is probably going to miss this entire season.
Yeah.
You need an option there. at least this year. Potentially, yeah, that's a Georgia tackle if I've ever seen one. This is all like an SEC draft party if I've ever seen one.
We got
But,
a trade, Ben. Eagles
Oh.
are going to be taking pick 20 here from the Cowboys. Dallas will receive pick 23, 114, and 137.
Okay, so
this is going to be
2/4.
Philly's pick right here.
So this is Mekhi Lemon, right?
This has to be
Because
Mekhi
we
Lemon.
know that Diana Rossini is going to successfully funnel AJ Brown to the New England Patriots post June 1 when it becomes financially viable. Hope had told me before the broadcast that at the first Diana Rossini mentioned she was out, or Vrabel mentioned. So I hope if you're still with us, we got halfway there. You know.
A little over halfway. It's pick 20.
Yeah. I like this pick for Carolina.
I do too.
Freak athlete.
I think it's a fairly safe pick. But I think that's a signal to Bryce Young. We are going to protect you. We are going to build around you. And, you know, they were giving the Rams a bit of a run there during that playoff game. I think there's a lot to like about Carolina.
Yeah. They have a good roster. I know we're a little separated on Bryce still, but they have a really good roster. All right, Eagles pick coming across our feed now. It is indeed Mekhi Lemon out of USC.
He's going to be fun there.
About as good of a lane, similar to how we were talking about, you know, Ty Simpson with the Rams. This is almost about as good of a landing spot as you could hope for.
Yep.
For Lemon, you know, the volume necessarily may not be there. That's why AJ Brown is probably available, but you know, you're going to step into a clear need here. A clear day one starter opportunity for you alongside Devontae Smith, where you're not the immediate number one receiver. And you know, an organization that is often, you know, competing for championships. I think it's a great spot for him.
All right, hear me out. Pick 21. How do you think about Thieneman for Pittsburgh here?
For Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, what they need to be doing is getting younger and faster at basically all the spots that they can.
Yeah.
Top needs on ESPN, quarterback, obviously. They also have guard, tackle, safety, and defensive tackle. You know, I think based on who's available, I feel like Thieneman makes a lot of sense. You could see a receiver. It's not one of their top needs, but they have DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman. You put another extremely quality receiver in there, all of a sudden I get a lot more excited about the weapons that they have.
Yeah.
But Thieneman makes a lot of sense. You know, you no longer have Minkah Fitzpatrick there. You could use a new rock in that secondary. I like the idea of Purdue legend Dylan Thieneman in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, especially because you're not finding a quarterback at this point. You know,
black and yellow / gold before, like
yeah,
he wore yellow at Oregon sometimes.
It's there. I see the vision.
Here we go.
Yeah, my wife is locking in now that the Steelers are on the clock.
Cheyenne, who do you
want
want
to join the pod? Yeah, Cheyenne, how about you? How about you join the pod? I'm going to turn the mic over, and you may not make it onto the camera. I don't know. Let's see. Like, we'll get our resident Steelers fan in here.
Okay, so I feel like the Steelers have a few priorities. We need anybody to catch the ball, and we need anybody to protect the quarterback. I feel like it's really it's that simple. I don't know who's left because I stopped paying attention a little bit.
Your top players on the board. Mekhi Lemon was just drafted. The top 5 on the board on the Beast. Jermod McCoy, cornerback. Keldrick Falk, edge rusher. Dylan Thieneman, safety. Casey Concepcion, receiver. And Omar Cooper, receiver. Damn, first spam comment of the pod's history.
Hey.
Wow. Let's see. Maybe we'll take one of these receivers, but I don't know if we're gonna take a receiver round 1. I don't know.
This is weird. Your pick is not in, and you're under. Okay, now it's in. I was gonna say they've really let more of this.
This is the longest one,
most
yeah.
Of these other teams. Yeah.
Woo!
And so pick is in for Pittsburgh. So you're thinking receiver, maybe?
Maybe, but I really don't know if we'll take a receiver round 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the trade for Pittman and the already existing investment in DK Metcalf. Calvin Austin has flashed a little bit of promise. Denzel Boston is also not that much further down on the best available. Certainly an option.
If I had the phone, I'm taking Thieneman, but receiver wouldn't be wrong here either.
Ryan also pointing at Caleb Lomu, offensive tackle from Utah, still on the board. Probably the top tackle available.
That might be it. All right, let's see.
Future Hall of Famer pick is in.
You got your terrible towel on the pot. Yeah, there
Yes.
we go. Yeah.
Is it in
And I got my
Espanol?
Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Yes.
Incredible.
It's the Toya Terrible.
Incredible. I
am
expect
like
nothing else.
All right, the hometown pick here.
Oh, here
Oh,
we go.
Get ready.
This intro goes crazy.
I can't wait to watch legions of Steelers fans confused as hell when they make a weird pick here.
That's what we do. That's always what we do.
When Akeem Mesidor comes off the board, then what? Cheyenne shaking her towel in
Yes.
solidarity.
Yo, we gotta do this for the NBA draft too. This has been fun.
Tommy Shaw from Styx for some reason.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do an NBA draft. Round 1 only, of course.
Are we
Yeah.
getting to commercial?
If we were real podcasters, Jesse, we would be in the trenches on day 3, but we are not real podcasters, and we
No.
also have social lives.
Doesn't the yellow bridge go dummy
Yes.
It looks good.
on the stage? Come on.
Yeah, they did their thing.
That's a thing to get it.
I don't know why you're seeing an Indiana hoodie, Ryan. It's a question. It's not him, not in this. Oh, on Jesse. Oh, because Jesse's a simp.
Woo.
Although, unlike many Indiana fans, Jesse has been there for quite some time.
I have been there for too long. And it's funny to me because people will be like, you've probably been waiting for this your
I
whole
feel
life. And I'm
nervous.
like, no, I haven't been waiting because I never thought it would be a possibility. It just wasn't
Right.
an option.
I guess we're having a rave instead of. That's why it took so long. It took so long on the clock, and then all right, let's pause the draft for this mild rave.
The crowd is going mild.
While they're listing recent
I'm
draft
nervous.
picks, Derek Harmon in there between Roethlisberger, Swan, T.J. Watt. That's great.
Kenny Pickett erasure.
Yeah, they should erase Kenny Pickett. So I never really viewed them as a real first round Ty Simpson option because I just think they're so shell shocked from Kenny Pickett that they would need a quarterback prospect they truly believe in to take in the
And
first round.
it's hard. Once you get out of the top 10, it's so hard
I lost my Texas hat.
to think about a quarterback. And to be
Yeah,
legitimately
the history
excited.
of late first round quarterbacks that have succeeded is not the longest. It's not impossible.
Has
but-
Jerome Bettis even aged?
Lynn Swan is 74 and looks
Fair.
38
Fair.
years old. Jerome Bettis hasn't aged as much, but I'm still focused on my man Lynn.
I mean, it's been 20 years since the bus played. And he still looks like the day he retired.
He looks great.
Yeah. I'd give it
Here
to
we
him
go,
on
here we
4th and
go.
goal.
How old is Jerome Bettis?
I have no idea.
I'm
But
looking
He's
it
got to
up.
be in his 50s, right?
that was the first jersey I ever got as a kid. Was a Jerome
He's
Bettis
54.
jersey, and then he retired right after that.
But it's a
Jerome
legacy
Bettis is
pick.
54.
It's a legacy jersey. Those are the best.
For sure. It does not fit me anymore, but it is.
A lot of yapping.
Lot of yapping. The pick is in.
All right. Maxi Anachor.
All right.
Offensive tackle from Arizona State.
All right.
Another
This
big
guy
boy.
has been described by Trust as a lot of potential with the right situation. He could be an awesome player, but he has a little bit of development for sure, but high potential player. Is how I've
ESPN's
heard
thing
him
says he's
described.
still relatively new to football, has a high ceiling if he continues to develop.
Yeah, he really improved. He's from Nigeria.
Okay.
Newer to football, but
321 pounds.
One of the fastest O linemen in the draft at 4.91 40.
Boy.
That's a big boy moving.
A lot of pass protection.
That is a big boy with some move. No motion.
He built some consistency. I think
but
he's a good pick.
the podcast again, the Athletic Football Show, they're fans, and not to say that they're like they know everything, but I trust their judgment a lot, and they're wrong, just like any prognosticator, but they liked him as a prospect. So,
All
right, we've got Satan's squad on the clock,
and we still have nobody to catch the ball, but it's fine.
You have two quality receivers,
Sure.
and a tight end that you compensate well.
Sure. Put that hat on. Woo!
Put it on.
All right, thanks for letting me be a guest.
Thanks to our Steelers guest for joining us.
Okay.
All right, Jesse, the Chargers pick is in. Chargers also could use offensive line.
Oh, there's my hat. Oh, no.
My favorite thing about that pick for the Steelers, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. Despite never playing football, he enrolled at East Los Angeles College to play college football. And played there for 2 seasons, was the 7th overall JUCO prospect for the class of 2023, where he ended up going to Arizona State. Man was just like, I'm going to pick up a hobby for college. I'm going to go play football.
He was like, I'm a big dude.
I also love the idea of the guy coming to play football, just going to the biggest party school in the country.
Correct.
Yeah, he was.
He was like, I'm going to play ball and I'm going to party hard, and that's my priority.
So I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. And then
I don't know if he actually partied hard. But
and he stumbles
Arizona
into
State.
a multi-million-dollar career.
I guess this is my career.
Brother's about to learn snow.
So the Chargers could use interior offensive line. They would be picking further down the board. Guard number 2 is Chase Basantis, 34th overall prospect for Dane Brugler. They could also use another receiver. This could be a Casey Concepcion or Omar Cooper spot. Yep. They could use an edge rusher. Khalil Mack is old. We could see Keldrick Falk here. I don't know. They could. Chargers are a weird team. Mesidor could also come off the board here. We've mentioned his name a few times. This is more of a Akeem Mesidor range, where you're more willing to be okay with the fact that he's an older prospect.
Yeah, I think 20 and on, as far as number of picks go, I think you're okay with that.
Yeah, you're not expecting as long of a career. The more I look at it, I like Mesidor here. I think he just fits. So. They're expecting to compete.
What are we doing with the sandwiches here, boys? There we go.
Akeem Mesidor.
It is Mesidor.
Los Angeles Charger.
Take it easy, Nostradamus.
I mean, they needed an edge player, And Keldrick Falk, I don't know. He's high on a lot of big boards, but he's kind of I mentioned earlier, he's just kind of a weird prospect because his pass rush is more theoretical than in practice. Also, he went to Auburn, so you got to dock him for that.
Absolutely.
Low IQ.
How we feeling about Dallas's pick coming up here? They traded back.
I really liked Downs for them earlier. I don't know. I feel like a receiver here makes a certain amount of sense.
It does.
George Pickens signed the franchise tag today, but you're probably not going to tag him again next year, and you're hoping to do a long-term deal, but I don't know. A receiver could make sense. It's looking a little cornerback, linebacker, edge, and tight end are their top needs. Safety was one of them, but obviously they're not doubling down. You could take Jermod McCoy here.
Yeah, or Jermod.
Yeah, it could be Hood. The only reason I would think not McCoy is they literally took an injured corner last year.
Right.
And I don't know if they want to do that, if they have the appetite to do that again. So this could be a Colton Hood or Chris Johnson spot for sure. Avion Terrell, also an option. Jerry Jones loves himself a pedigree.
Here's a name we haven't said yet, and been kind of mocking at the bottom of a lot of these drafts. Linebacker Malachi Lawrence from UCF. UCF had a terrible season, and I think that definitely hurt his stock a bit, but he's definitely talented.
And they need linebacker play bad. I'm interested. Malachi Lawrence was kind of more of a late riser. He's more of an edge for sure, but they need edge. Yeah. Certainly an option if you're not enamored with Keldrick Falk. TJ Parker from Clemson, also potentially an option here. He's an edge. Zion Young, Missouri. Somebody that I'm interested to see where they fall in this draft class. Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M is also a historic outlier in terms of arm size. Crazy athleticism. Not as much production in terms of sacks. He only had 3.5 tackles for loss last season. Extremely skilled player, but a little bit of more risk, high reward. Certainly an option here. You could go interior and look at somebody like Peter Woods, an extremely talented DT out of Clemson that never really had a monster freshman season and never really ascended, but still a lot of talent there.
So looking forward, a couple picks here. We got Chicago at 25, and I'm just looking at Chicago's draft history. This is their latest pick in the first round. Obviously, they've traded first round picks, a couple different times, but this is their latest first round pick since 2011, where they picked 29th.
Since 2000 and when?
2011. Yeah, their latest first round pick since 11.
Jesse, you still with me?
I can hear you. Hold on.
Okay, sorry, you cut out a little bit.
No, you're good. My computer.
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're good.
Yeah, you just said you could hear me.
Yeah, since 2011.
Okay,
their latest first round pick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was Gabe Karimi.
Yeah, he did not work out. You talked earlier about tackles in the first round. There's never being upset. That one, I think they would maybe tell you they didn't love. I'm interested. So Cleveland is next on the clock here after Dallas. I don't know that this draft could have gone better for Cleveland, right? You come in with two extreme needs, offensive tackle and wide receiver. And even if Dallas takes a receiver here, you're still going to have a quality option between the trio of Casey Concepcion, Omar Cooper, and Denzel Boston. You got your choice. Depending on even if Dallas takes one, you probably feel pretty good about one of the other two guys. So honestly, and Dallas may not take receiver. It's not their most pressing need. It wouldn't be a shock, but it's not their. You might have your choice of the three. And honestly, for Cleveland, when Carnell Tate went early, and then you took care of offensive tackle.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at the board, and you've still got Caleb Lomu on the board, and not really a lot of other first round quality tackles. It shook out really well for Cleveland.
Yeah, I agree with that. And as far as fit goes, if they were both taking a receiver, I think Omar Cooper fits better with Dallas, and I think Concepcion fits better with Cleveland. Sure. Omar's not going to be that big play dude. He's a good all-around receiver, and I think the Browns need someone to open the top up of that offense. They don't need to play it safe anymore. They absolutely need a game changer.
I'm trying to determine who OT6 is, but I'm not seeing. Doesn't matter. All right, Dallas making their selection. Malachi Lawrence, Jesse, I'm handing the Nostradamus hat over to you. What a pull for Jesse Smith.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
What
UCF
a pull
Knights.
for my co-host.
Go Knights, charge on.
Congrats, Jesse.
Thank you.
Incredible. We each had an out-of-body moment here.
I'm liking this pick for them. I think he's got a high football IQ, and unfortunately I think his play was masked by just how terrible the rest of the UCF football team was this past year and how disappointing the offense was. And they played a lot of snaps. There was the time of possession was always out of whack in all those games. He's a big dude for an edge, but can double as a linebacker. And I'm very interested to see how he fits into this system. But I think Dallas got a really good one here.
Yeah, he's 6'4 and a half, 253, a 4.5 240, so an explosive athlete, a 1.57 10-yard or 10 cone. Great speed. Only a crazy. He only had 72 tackles in 39 career games, so he's probably not giving you a lot outside of the pass rush. But if he can get to the quarterback, you need guys like that.
Absolutely.
Good pick for Dallas. Okay, so just like we were kind of talking about there for Cleveland, if you want to go receiver, and you probably do, you've got your choice here.
Yeah. But knowing Cleveland, they're going to end up taking a punter.
I mean, I'm looking. Guard and corner are their other two top needs. Quarterback, but the next quarterback on the board is Garrett Nussmeier here would be, or Drew Aller would be like all-time Cole Strange level shock. Sorry, Hope, you're taking a lot of L's here, or strays here.
It just wouldn't be the right pick, and I don't think that
you could take Chris Johnson or Jermod McCoy here. I would see the vision, but I think they need a receiver so desperately. I think you got to come away tonight with one.
I think so.
You take your choice of receiver here. You go to your post-draft press or post-first round press conference, and you're like, you know what? We saw our two biggest needs as offensive tackle and wide receiver, and we're walking away with two blue chip players at those positions. You got to feel pretty good about it.
Yep. I think the draft, like you mentioned, I think has fit them just about perfectly, and into exactly what they wanted to play.
Carson Beck, you are a Cleveland Brown, Ryan says in the chat. I don't know this, but I believe it will happen. It just feels like a Browns choice. There's been some smoke. I don't know if you saw Jesse over the last 24 to 48 hours of he might go earlier than we expect. That would be hilarious because he is 145 on Dane Brugler's big board. It's crazy. But I mean, I can't say that it's impossible because it's Cleveland. Jesse, you mentioned Chicago with the latest pick in the first round in 15 years. Do you have any thoughts on what they might target there? Because I'm interested. That they're kind of in a unique position where their top needs are. I mean, if Dylan Thieneman is still there, I feel like they're running to the podium. Their other top needs: defensive tackle, edge. I don't know that there's really somebody that necessarily jumps off the board for me at this point. Keldrick Falk doesn't stylistically really necessarily fit with.
I think you go secondary for them.
Oh, that's my dog.
Yep. I think you go secondary. I think you go Thieneman or McCoy if one of them's available. One of them will be available. I think you go one of those two. I think that's the direction you need to go. Offense is looking good. They need to get more consistent, but that's going to come with time and reps. But offense looks explosive. If you can get that defense to look competent, the Bears are legit. Yeah.
Interesting. I hate the copy-paste agent tweets that Adam Schefter gets. By the way, you're going to hear some squeaking. Troy came in from outside, so apologies.
Good boy, Troy.
So these are the kind of tweets I like from Adam Schefter, not the copy-paste agent tweets. The last time the Eagles and Cowboys made a first-round trade was 2021 when the teams swapped picks. Philly took receiver Devontae Smith and Dallas took edge Micah Parsons. They swapped again this year, and once again, Philly took a receiver, Mekhi Lemon, while Dallas lands a pass rusher, Malachi Lawrence. Not really important necessarily,
no, it's just
but hilarious.
Yeah.
Troy is riled
Field
up.
Yates is on the screen right now if you wanted to see the suit.
Is it before or after they show the blimp? Because I'm looking at the blimp.
I'm looking at Field Yates.
Are you watching the ESPN feed or are you on a different feed?
Because
there's multiple draft feeds. Yeah, we're watching different feeds. That's probably why I haven't noticed. I'm going to look him up.
It's a good suit. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yates. Let's see. Hopefully, some sicko on Twitter has posted his fit.
Leave it to Cleveland to take forever for the 24th pick. What did Joakim Noah say that one time?
Yeah.
Y'all think Cleveland's cool?
I'll have to look it up later. All right, Cleveland, Goodell at the podium. Feel like it's a receiver. Casey Concepcion,
yep.
Receiver, Texas A&M.
It's a good pick.
I'm still a little surprised. I felt like Omar Cooper was a trendy prospect, but I'm a little surprised he's still on the board here. But I understand the pick here for Cleveland. You need talent at receiver, and they've identified him as the best option here on the board. Again, I hate to beat a dead horse, and it's weird to praise the Browns, but I feel like you knocked out your two biggest needs here.
Yep, on paper, it's a good draft.
Concepcion, definitely a shorter player, just under 6 foot, under 200 pounds. Obviously, you expect him to bulk up maybe a little bit, add a little bit of weight in the NFL, but a good playmaker.
So I'm looking at.
It does suck though if he went to A&M.
That is true. Hopefully it's not rest in peace to his career getting picked by Cleveland, but we can hope they can turn it around.
A&M to Cleveland makes sense.
And the A&M to Cleveland pipeline is just gross on all levels.
This poor man.
But he's an explosive playmaker for sure.
Man, he thought he was safe.
Some drop issues.
He thought he was safe getting picked in the 20s there. Nope.
Got this like checkered pattern going on between the jacket and the pants.
Yeah. I'm feeling
and from a distance, the Browns hat kind of looks like a Bass Pro Shops hat.
It does.
It
the flannel-looking top doesn't help. This man's going out for fishing. I love it.
This man's at the pyramid tonight.
I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm feeling Thieneman for Chicago.
He is used to a one-lead quarterback, and I agree. I feel like it just makes a lot of sense. Like, safety is probably your biggest need on your roster. It just makes sense to me.
How do we feel about Omar Cooper to either Buffalo or San Francisco?
I don't know. I'm interested. Buffalo is interesting to me. San Francisco, I think I would like it more. I just don't know if Buffalo is going to pull the trigger on a first-round wide receiver considering the DJ Moore trade, but it's not necessarily a bad idea. I like San Francisco for him a lot more, I think.
I could also see him going to Miami.
Kind of more of like a vertical downfield receiver. You get Cooper underneath.
Yeah. I feel like he could also go to Miami.
Miami 28?
That's the Denver pick
30
from the Waddle trade.
Yes.
I could see that one.
28 is Houston. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to Houston. They got plenty.
Pick is in Bears. We're going to TV commercial, of course.
Come on,
My dog is going animal style on his empty food bowl.
Mine currently is trying to dig a hole through this couch.
Sounds about right.
Did you find your pupperoni we dropped earlier?
Buddy.
Is that it?
They'll strike gold eventually. They're imprisoning you, Oreo. Break free. Take the blue pill.
Buddy,
so just a quick reset of our top five on the board that I'm using, which is Dane Brugler's big board from The Athletic. Jermod McCoy, corner from Tennessee. Keldrick Falk, edge from Auburn. Dylan Thieneman, safety from Oregon by way of Purdue. Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana, the wide receiver. And Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety from Toledo. We haven't talked about McNeil-Warren a lot. We've mentioned him as an option.
Yeah.
Could definitely sneak into some of these teams here at the back half of the first round could use a safety. I'm interested because I viewed the back half of the first round as kind of a spicy potential Ty Simpson spot because with the Cardinals picking at 34 and needing a quarterback, you could see them rolling the dice on him. But without Ty Simpson on the board, all right, we have a trade coming in. Ryan, thanks to Ryan in the chat for alerting us. Houston has traded up 2 spots to Buffalo's spot. So after this Bears pick, Houston will be on the clock.
Okay.
Houston, by the way, I think I read in Nick Casario's 5 years, he's made 25 draft trades.
Wow. That's
which
crazy.
is just like at a certain point you're just hitting the trade. It's like when you play Madden and you get a couple like top 3 round picks and then you just start like trading all your picks for future years and you just
clicking
spam
Trade
that
Finder on
endlessly.
NBA
It's like
2K.
some year you end up with like 11 5th round picks and we're all sitting waiting for you to trade it for a future 4th.
All right, while we have a lull
Interesting.
here, what do you think is the best pick of the night so far?
Ooh.
Just in
Best
terms of
pick of the night.
value, fit, what's the best pick we've had?
Yeah, I like Monroe Freeling to the Panthers. Feels good. I'm a believer in Ruben Bain, so him at 15 to the Bucks. I think Caleb Downs at 11 is probably the one that stands out to me the most. I love. It's a need for the Cowboys. I think he's much better than the 11th best player in the class. I think that's great value, even if you had to trade up one spot. Excuse me. I would say Arvel Reese to 5. He's an extremely talented player, but the logjam at that position in New York is interesting. So I don't know. We're getting an Alabama baseball update here that I'm going to share because it's our podcast. They're playing Tennessee in baseball, and Tennessee walked 5 consecutive batters, including 3 in a row being hit by a pitch. 2 different pitchers involved.
Oh my gosh.
That's hashtag college baseball, baby.
That is a pitching coach's literal nightmare. Wakes up in a cold
Caleb
sweat.
Lomu an option here for the Bears as well. They could use a tackle. It's not their biggest need, but they could use one.
Yeah. I think I'm going to agree with either Caleb Downs at 11 or Arvel Reese at 5 as my favorite pick so far.
Hi, Gypsy. You want to say hi to the podcast? No, you just want to lay on top of Dad.
My special girl.
And Thieneman.
Dylan Thieneman for the Bears.
Good pick.
All right.
That's the right pick.
Great pick. A dude looks fire.
Bro.
Clean.
My
Pretty
goodness.
legend.
You know, I don't hate the Ducks.
He is coming straight out of the Top Gun 3 shoot here.
Baddies.
This is a new entry. I think he's a really, really
That's a
good
great
player.
pick, yeah.
And getting him at 25 to fill a need, this is a new entry to me in terms of favorite fits. Okay, so the trade terms for the Bills and Texans. Texans move from 28 to 26. They give up 69 and 167, and they also get 91.
Okay.
So they are sending a first, a third, and I think 5th. I'm doing some quick math here, and they get a first. So to move up 2 spots, they move back from the third round to the end of the 3rd round, and then they send a 5th round pick. So that's not bad. Okay. We haven't really had any like huge packages here.
Yeah, I think everyone's gun shy after the.
I think it's a reflection of the quality of the draft class, and it's also when you're not trading for a quarterback, not as much of a tax.
Correct. Yeah, you don't feel the need to have to go get the specific guy.
Ryan says exciting whites all around. Big moment for the 2 white guys with the podcast to talk about the white guy getting drafted.
Because, if there's anyone who's underrepresented.
This is cinema right here. The TV broadcast finally telling us that the Bills have traded to the Texans.
Thank you for that late news, folks.
It's funny to me also that Schefter scoops the draft before it happens because, bro, you work for ESPN.
Ryan said IHOP is sponsoring the trades.
It is pretty funny that IHOP is the trade sponsor.
Y'all
trade
mean
alert,
IHOP?
like another trade, Ryan? Oh, the Dolphins are trading with the Niners.
Okay.
to get behind. So they are now pick 27, and they're sending pick 30 and 90. So they're sending a third round pick to move up 3 spots. Okay, so here's the thing. I feel like they just paid so much more than the Texans did.
Correct.
To move about the same amount of space.
That city is so pretty, man.
Oh, I'm going to tell my computer not to restart in 58 seconds.
Which city are we referring to? San Francisco?
Oh, no. Pittsburgh.
She's talking about Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh. She's still watching the screen.
Okay, so a lot of trade movement here, Jesse.
Yeah.
To keep up with it, Houston on the clock. Offensive line is a perpetual need for them. Maybe they're moving up for Caleb Lomu here. Would make a certain amount of sense. They need a guard, maybe more than they need a tackle. So it could be a swing at somebody like Chase Basantis, the guard out of Texas A&M. You know, they also could use a defensive tackle, a corner, or an edge. So they could be a Keldrick Falk or Jermod McCoy. I like this as a Jermod McCoy spot because you're not counting on him to immediately come in and be a day one starter.
I was just about to talk about him. I feel like I know he missed the season, but like, come on now, you know, he's listed.
It's just scary, you know.
Yeah, I get it, but the ACL tear isn't what it used to be. You know, I feel like when Adrian Peterson came back from his ACL tear, that was kind of like the end of the scariness behind it, you know, because it wasn't like how when Willis McGahee's knee exploded in the national championship game when he was at Miami, that felt like a death sentence, right? And I don't know, it feels different. I feel like the Achilles is now the ACL of this era.
All right, the Texans at the podium here with Roger Goodell. Excuse me. They are selecting a guard from Georgia Tech, Keelan Rutledge. Okay, a little bit of a surprise. A little bit further down on the big board.
It's 58 on ESPN's.
Yeah, I've heard him talked positively about, but certainly not here. He's 62 on the Athletics big board here with Dane Brugler. You know, Texans are gonna Texan. If they got a guy they like, they're gonna trade up for him. Getting another IHOP trade alert here for the trade we already know about, the Niners and the Dolphins.
Oh goodness.
Keelan Rutledge is interesting. I don't know. So I mentioned at the top of the broadcast that I felt like I knew a lot about. I knew enough about the guys that would be drafted in the first round. Can't say I'm a Keelan Rutledge expert.
I am not a baller.
But he won the 2025 Piccolo Award given to the ACC's most courageous player.
Piccolo?
I don't really know how you measure that. Like, did he rescue the most children out of burning buildings? This quote from an NFL scout about him says, if the ACC had a royal rumble, I'd bet on this guy to be the last man standing, which is an all-time quote that I'd want about me as an athlete.
I love Ryan's comment here in the chat. That's one of the picks. That is certainly a pick of all time.
Almost all of his career snaps came at right guard, 98.3% of his snaps. He does have
100% chance this man is eating at a Waffle House.
So, interesting background on Keelan Rutledge. This says that the medicals on his left foot are imperative because he missed 2024 spring practices because in December 2023, he had a car accident where he swerved to avoid an oncoming car. His car flipped multiple times, landed upside down. He underwent surgery the next day to repair a fractured left big toe, but the bone didn't set right, and he developed an infection, resulting in a second surgery. Originally started at Middle Tennessee before playing the last 2 years at Georgia Tech. Quite the climb for him, but you know what? I respect it. He was a 3-star recruit.
To becoming a first-round pick. Awesome
story. Technology and society. I don't know what that means, but sorry, I don't know a lot about him, so we're getting a lot of by crap.
Yeah, you're putting me on game. I appreciate it. We got Miami here on the clock right now. Who? What direction do you think Miami? You think it's Omar?
I don't know if I think it's Omar. Again, Miami is just so hard to forecast because team needs are yes, but their wide receiver room. It's crazy to me that their team top 5 need. Well, okay, never mind. I'm just blind. I was going to say wide receiver is not here. It's literally their number 1 need because their wide receiver room is grim. I like Omar Cooper. Ryan makes a great point though that Miami still has a shortage of sub 4.4 or sub 4.5 running backs. So who's the best? Could we see Jadarian Price, the number 2 running back, likely on the
You
board?
pulled that out quick.
Well, he's from Notre Dame. And if Notre Dame has the first 2 running backs drafted, it's the first time that's ever happened. So I'm invested in that narrative. But
I also could see this a landing spot for Jamad. He's got to come off the board at some point.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think you could go wrong here if you're Miami, as long as you don't take whatever you already took. Caden Price. Honestly, no, you could take another offensive lineman and be fine.
They're taking Nussmeier.
To Garrett Nussmeier here would, I think the internet would explode if Garrett Nussmeier was the pick.
I'm not even a Miami fan. I think I would explode if they took him.
That would be just preposterous. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you take your top prospect here on your board, corner, if Jermod McCoy is your guy, or if you're scared by the medicals, Chris Johnson and Avion Terrell are available. You could take Emmanuel McNeil Warren, plug him in at safety. I personally like Omar Cooper Jr. because I think your success as a franchise is not dictated by how Malik Willis does. You're not necessarily tied to him as a starter.
Right.
But sorry, I just read Ryan's comment in the chat.
No.
You got to get weapons of some variety that can catch the football that aren't out of the backfield. I like Omar Cooper Jr. for them here. I think it's a building block type player.
I just read it. Ryan, we need you in more of our...
I believe him in that he would take his top
chats.
smooth off. All right, pick us in for Miami. My watch is vibrated, so I feel like, yep, they've made a pick. Goodell striding to the podium. Crazy we're not seeing Pitbull out here for this one.
Dale.
He's too busy not following
Dale.
through on his promises to Florida International.
That's
All right, and we've got Chris Johnson, cornerback from San Diego State.
Okay.
He's technically this third quarterback 3, number 24 overall on this big board. Interesting, Jermod McCoy continuing to fall here, but we've got Chris Johnson. He ran a 4.40 at the combine. He did not run at his pro day. A smaller school guy. His first weakness on this write-up is narrow bone structure with marginal muscle mass, especially on his limbs, which is hilarious.
Look at his arm. His arms look fine.
He looks fine physically to me, but
he's a corner.
He can get out physical on the outside, but shows good instincts, good feel, fluid hips.
Fluid hips.
All right, Patriots are trading to 28 with Buffalo. Buffalo continuing to move back.
But it says the pick is in for Buffalo.
Yeah, they're not updated. So New England sending 31 and 125 for pick 28.
Man,
so
Buffalo's absolutely cranking right now.
Why did Miami pay a 3rd-round pick to move up 3 spots?
That's the last 2 move-ups have made no sense.
Patriots made like a bottom 4th pick. I love
the humble households.
I don't know, man.
Like, you strapped your whole way to this.
A solid first round for Miami. It's pretty hard to walk away with 2. You got Caden Proctor, Chris Johnson. Okay. Hopefully, two long-term starters for you. You have so many needs. Just walking away with 2 dudes is valuable. So New England here on the clock. If they weren't, I don't know. Even if you are trading for AJ Brown, you could still use another weapon.
I think you can.
Could we still see Omar Cooper? Could we see Caleb Lomu and you're adding to your offensive line? Do you like Jermod McCoy or Keldrick Falk enough to take them here? Their top needs: offensive tackle, defensive tackle, tight end, safety, edge. TJ Parker, an edge there. Denzel Boston, still a receiver on the board, but with AJ Brown likely incoming, I don't know if they're taking receiver here. You got a lot of talented players here. This could be, I don't know. I'm gonna call my shot here, Emmanuel McNeil Warren.
I'm calling Lomu.
All right, Jesse, you win this round.
It's a good
Caleb
pick.
Lomu.
Watching the Super Bowl, Drake was on his back way too much, and obviously that was a very, very good defense he was facing. But that's enough for me to take a look at adding another offensive lineman.
Big day for Utah. They're starting offensive tackles, both drafted in the first round. Also, Ryan, who is watching this stream, if you're watching this, you probably know Ryan because our audience is smaller. But he lives in Atlanta and is sharing with us that he is close enough that he could go to CJ Allen's draft party. CJ Allen, linebacker out of Georgia, probably not going in the first round necessarily. Maybe go if you don't go now, Ryan. Maybe show up in like 40 minutes and see if they've thrown out a bunch of like the snacks and hors d'oeuvres, but like
100%.
not thrown it out, like it's not in the trash fully, but they're getting rid of it and just be like, I'll take those off your hands. A couple of the bottles of Cristal that they're not going to need.
Not Crystal.
Maybe some Dom P.
That's diabolical. All right.
I like CJ Allen for the Broncos a lot. He's probably not going to make it there, but
So Kansas City here, originally the Rams pick. Are we feeling Dermott at this point?
they took corner. They already took corner. They took Delane at 6.
I forgot they took him.
And I know you lost 2, but I just don't see them doubling up here. I'm interested. Cooper is their type of receiver.
Right there.
He's their type of receiver. He's 6 foot speedster. So he's right. I don't know. I feel like if I'm Kansas City, I might think about Falk. You could use another edge. You need a DT also. The problem with DT is it's really Peter Woods or bust at this point. Caden McDonald. Excuse me, Caden McDonald is on the board. Kind of the consensus top defensive tackle. I forgot. I was thinking, he was already drafted. I forgot it was Caleb Banks. LOL. But I don't know. You could go probably. I'd be looking at interior defensive line or defensive line in general, probably if I'm Kansas City.
Going back to our discussion about our favorite picks, the more I think about it, the more I really like the Sonny Styles pick for the Commanders.
Yeah, I've kind of soured on it a little bit.
I'm just looking based off of what was available.
I don't know. I would have liked. I'm going back to look at the picks after them. I think
Caleb Downs is the big one.
I would have liked one of the tackles or the Caleb Downs more, I think. It's not a bad pick. Certainly he's going to be a great player for them, but I don't know. Based on how the board fell, they could have also traded down. I don't know. It's easy to say they could have traded down without knowing, like, okay, but who's trying? Is anyone trying to trade up?
Right.
But, it's interesting to see. Getting a work email, by the way, at 9:40 that I need to critically communicate to my office. Fun.
Good times.
Only a couple picks left here, Jesse. We're almost done. It's 9:47 Central. I know it's a lot later for you, about 60 minutes worth, but yeah, the New York Giants got great value with Maui Noah and Arvell Reese. Even if I don't love necessarily the path for Reese on day 1, I still think it's a swing you take.
I think so too.
More so than Sonny, just because I believe. I don't know, and maybe I'm being too harsh on the Commanders because I think Sonny Styles is also an awesome prospect, and even if it's not necessarily the best fit, I do generally support best player available if your team need isn't necessarily supported by that board. So I like Styles. I think he's there. The Jets are trading with the 49ers, by the way. to get
Niners just
back
trade out
onto
of
the
the
board
first?
here. Yes, they will be trading down to 33. The Jets are sending 33 and 179 to the Niners for 30. We need to do a study on why the Dolphins had to give up so much more preposterous. Also, I'm watching this ad for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Has like a tentpole movie like that ever had less of a footprint?
Probably not.
It looks horrible. I got to be so honest with
Yeah.
you. I will watch it. Obviously, I'm a Star Wars guy. Looks trash. Also, it's upsetting to me that we have a Mandalorian who famously don't remove their armor, and they're like, but we cast Pedro Pascal, so he's got to take the helmet off as often as
Gotta take the
possible.
helmet off constantly.
Otherwise, they won't know we have Pedro Pascal. The Dolphins are run by monkeys stacked on top of each other. Hey, but it's a new set of monkeys now.
That's a generous look at what they do.
It's a new brain trust. I don't know. From the Packers, John Eric Sullivan. It's different. All right, Chiefs. Very intriguing to see what happens here. And I'm curious why the Jets wanted to trade back up into the first round because the last time they took 3 first-round picks, they blew all 3. Or it just didn't work out for them. But I did see your Oliver Reese comment. I was saying, gotta take a guy with a brick for brain when you can. I could see
Kansas City taking Woods here.
Yeah, I like Woods or Falk. Yeah, Peter Woods. All right, Jesse. Good job. We highlighted him as an option here. Chris Jones not getting any younger. You need more talent on the defensive line. You got a guy that has a lot of talent, maybe needs a little bit of growth. The family in all white, clean as hell.
Outrageous.
Look at this, honey. Did you see it? I'll pull it up for
All
you later.
white
His
goes-
whole family in all white, and he's wearing this like green suit. It's clean as hell. This is a highlight against Texas.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm writing a cover letter right now, so I'm kind of locked in.
It's okay.
All right. So we got the Jets, Buffalo, and then Seattle. Looks like the last few picks of the night here.
All right, so the Jets are on the clock. Yeah. Bro, why do you need a third first-round pick? Who are you trading up for? Wide receiver, guard, and corner
There
are their
two
biggest
dealers
non-quarterback.
right now, and
Okay.
one of them is me.
And the other's Ryan.
So,
Hope couldn't even
no,
commit to us.
No, I only said that because then I know none of my coworkers are watching right now.
I know.
At what point you had 8 just a second ago? People will come back.
Joke's on you. We have 1,000 people watching.
Yeah,
Do you think they want Cooper here? It could be Carson Beck, Ryan. You're right. This could be Carson Beck.
If I'm telling you right now, if this is Carson Beck, I'm cutting to stream.
Carson Beck, New York Jet, kind of has a flow to it.
Sid
You
the
saw
Sloth.
so you saw the fit. You know what?
Yes.
I do not want
Maybe
to
this
see.
is Cooper. Maybe they did. Maybe they want to make sure they walk away. They need another receiver.
Yeah.
You know, you walk away from this with another receiver. Always possible.
Yeah, if Sid the Sloth ends up being the Jets quarterback, the stream is getting cut.
I mean, he could be the Jets quarterback, but it's not going to be here at pick 30. Three picks left.
Yeah, this I am a fan of the 8-minute clock.
Yeah, it's nice. It's been crisp. We're going to look at about a 3-hour tight draft, whereas normally it's 4 hours.
Yep.
Those extra 2 minutes add up when there's 32
They do.
of them. 64 minutes. Especially because some teams milk the whole dang clock.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Roger coming to the podium. You've already got David Bailey and Kenyon Sadiq in the barn.
Yeah,
Who else are you
another
calling
weapon.
home?
I feel like it has to be Cooper. I feel like it has to be him.
It's got to be Cooper, I think. It is Omar Cooper Jr.
There
to
we
the Jets.
go. Nice job.
That's a good pickup for them.
That's a great
Now,
pickup.
a little bit of I feel like a little bit of samey with Garrett Wilson, like a little bit of
Yeah.
same skill sets, but you literally your leading receiver had like 350 receiving yards last year because Garrett Wilson was so hurt. So like, just get a guy that can make plays with the ball in his hands.
Omar Cooper's mom wearing the Catch of the Year shirt is awesome.
It's hilarious.
I love that. Yeah, what a story. Omar, great dude. Absolutely great dude. I've loved his game for a long time, and
You're gonna lead with the catch.
you know, I forgot his sister played basketball at Purdue.
Well, they're up, baby.
But yeah, just an incredible rise over the last year for him, and obviously, you know, on the backs of Fernando Mendoza and the entire team starting to come together. I'm a big fan of this pick for the Jets. I hope they can get someone that can throw the ball to all these dudes, but they are building a sneaky good little unit here on the offensive side of the ball. Breece Hall in the backfield.
They're adding some toys.
Yeah. So very excited for Omar. Just on a human level, excellent teammate, good route runner, and you know, we don't win the title without him.
All right, so Buffalo is now at 31, and then Seattle will be picking here at 32, barring another trade. It felt like we were having a quiet trade night, and then the back half of the 20s was just madness here.
Boom.
So Buffalo, let's take a quick look at some of their team needs since it's been a minute since we've talked about them.
Real quick.
Wide receiver, edge, linebacker, guard, corner. Could be a Jermod McCoy team. Feels like we've said that for everybody. But they could also
they just
prefer
showed a graphic on my stream.
Corner.
They just showed a graphic on my stream here that Omar had the most yards after catch in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, that's a skill set that you can always take more of.
Yep. Especially if you're going to be developing quarterbacks over the next couple of years. You need guys that can
Titans have traded with the Bills. The Titans are on the clock.
Oh, okay.
I think Adam Schefter's tweet says Tennessee looking for wide receiver help. So I'm gonna assume we're looking at perhaps Denzel Boston here. Thank you, Adam, for the spoiler alert. Because if you're trading for a wide
who else is
receiver,
gonna be?
It's got to be Boston at this point. It could be Jeremy Bernard, from Alabama, Roll Tide. Chris Bell from Louisville is further down the board, but an intriguing prospect. But I feel like if you're trading to 31, it's Denzel Boston, which, for Tennessee, adding Carnell Tate and Denzel Boston to your room, perhaps, it would be interesting to take 2 first-round receivers. Or you trade. I mean, that's just we're assuming based on the framing of the tweet,
right? Could this be a Zachariah
Keldrick Falk
Branch
also
maybe?
on the board? Zachariah Branch, maybe. I don't know. I love a wide receiver who can block, even if it's a sidewalk. Keldrick Falk on the board, you know.
And Jermod McCoy still on the board.
Yeah. Very interesting.
But whoever it is was enough for Tennessee to trade back up.
There's been a lot of movement here. I don't even trust. I mean, Seattle needs extra picks.
They really do. And I don't know if anyone's moving the needle for them right now at 32.
Seattle has a first, a second, a third, and a 6th round pick, which is not their own. Only 3 of their picks are their own, which is I don't know how you get
not
there.
great.
But, I mean, it worked. They won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, Roger Goodell coming to name the Titans' third first-round pick. No, wait, is this second? They've only made one other pick.
Yeah.
They're announcing a record for the first night of draft attendance, 320,000. I couldn't even begin to guess how they're estimating that number. Carson Beck is still on the board, Ryan, but considering they took Cam Ward number 1 overall last year, seems unlikely. Seattle, though, I don't know. You could look for a Darnold succession plan. Keldrick Falk,
Good
pick here for Tennessee. What is Adam Schefter tweeting about wide receiver help? Did he forget they took Carnell Tate?
They did. He probably did.
All right, Auburn man going to Nashville. Crazy. He's also the last guy in the green room.
I like it when all the guys
So
in
all
the
the
green room
green
get picked.
It is pretty sad when you have a green room guy that doesn't get picked.
My dog is getting the zoomies.
Dog is also getting a little restless over here.
We got one more pick.
Oreo, what do you think the Seahawks do here? And also, you still owe me money, Oreo.
He told you.
God
it's
forgives,
all
I
in-
don't.
He told you it's all.
Oh, I
in
forgot
crypto
about
right now.
Jalen Milroe as the Super Bowl champion. Jalen Milroe as the Sam Darnold succession plan. But Carson Beck could be the Jalen Milroe succession plan.
That's true.
Stay 2 steps ahead, then you're never caught lacking at the quarterback position. Also, that man could hold a clipboard pretty well, I'm sure.
He could hold a mean clipboard.
Last pick of the first round, Jesse. This is a lot of fun. I'm glad we did this.
I am too.
I'm sure there's been more nuanced draft analysis on one of the ESPN channels or whatever, but this has been the most fun experience for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've had a great. It's gone by fast, actually.
Honestly, it's zoomed by. Maybe that's not true for everyone else, but for me, it feels like it's flown. After we see the Seattle pick here, maybe we'll wrap up a little bit, just highlight some of our favorite players still on the board. I feel like we could do that pretty quickly because we've kind of talked about some of them, but
Yeah.
What a night.
Yeah. Fun night of draft.
Kind of freeing that neither of us has an emotional investment in any of these first round picks.
Right. That's been nice, actually, especially for our first time doing this. Because part of me wants to do the draft lotto live as well, but if something goes wrong, it might be the end.
No, we cannot. We can't. We got to hedge emotionally. We can't do that live. If we had been doing this podcast and done a live draft show when Bo Nix was the first round pick, you might have lost me for the rest of the first round. I was in shambles. I literally famously right before said, as long as it's not Bo Nix,
I remember
then
it.
I'll be happy. And then it was Bo Nix.
I remember it distinctly.
Which has worked out okay. I'm happy to be wrong there.
Yeah.
I hope we don't pay him $60 million, but
Someone's
when his
going
contract is up. But no. Give him the Sam Darnold contract. Well, they found all 3 of Keldrick Falk's sacks for this highlight clip.
to.
I'm sorry, this one is just bad blocking by Jordan. Not to hate solely because he's an Auburn guy, but that was horrible blocking. That's a lack of effort sack. All right, pick is in for the Seahawks. We're a little delayed here because they're going to talk to Keldrick Falk because he's there at the draft. So he's going to stop by with Laura Rutledge. You said in kindergarten tonight you wanted to play in the NFL. I'd love one time for them to just be like, so have you always dreamed? What's it like to achieve your dream? And then just be like, you know, I love football, but like it's kind of more like it's cool that it worked out, but like, you know, I always thought I was going to be an architect, but then I ended up really good at that. So like, I'm happy to do it.
You're literally describing Andrew Luck.
I know, but I wish he would have been more honest. That man also loved football. He
did.
He was a psychotic individual, but like, I just think it would be funny. Like, or them to be like, when did you know that like you had what it took? And it'd be like, I guess tonight, you know, like you never really know, you know, but
Never know for sure.
he did get lined up. He did get lined up by Marcus Freeman's barber. Looks very similar.
Yeah, I need to go see Marcus Freeman's barber.
Why are you talking to Kay Adams too? Man got a fresh cut for that interview.
He was ready.
All right. Roger's gonna yammer for a minute about the
Thank
NFL
you
draft.
so
and then
much
he's
for
gonna-
coming. Thank you to the city of Pittsburgh.
Where's the draft next year? Do we know?
Let me see.
DC, that's right.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget? That was a whole deal. First time it's in DC since 1941.
Need the Indianapolis draft.
I don't know that I want the draft. It just feels like a logistical nightmare without as much. I mean, I guess you got people that travel, so I'm sure the tourism value is worth it, but it just seems like a logistical nightmare more than.
I mean, I don't live there anymore, so I don't care.
Well, yeah, I know. Neither do I, but still, my city, I care. Closing it out with another Make-A-Wish selection. I love that. This guy's hype as hell.
He is. He's feeling it.
He's ready. Bravely battled a brain tumor. Shout out.
And he gets
two-time cancer survivor.
Ooh.
Incredible.
And he gets to announce it the year they won the Super Bowl too.
Yeah, that's awesome. This could be Jadarian Price. We haven't really talked about what Seattle needs.
They don't need
they
anything.
Need a running back. They're currently starting like the ghost of freaking something.
Letting Kenneth Walker go is crazy.
They're starting the ghost of of Emmanuel Wilson or George Alani. So, Alani.
No way.
What happened? You saw the pick already?
Yep.
Is it Jadarian Price?
It may or may not be Jadarian Price.
Let's go, baby! 2 first-round running backs for Notre Dame. First time that you had that the first 2 running backs were from the same school.
That is awesome.
15 touchdowns, by the way, last year by the Notre Dame backup running back.
What a cool pick.
Is he worth a first-round pick? I think so.
Yeah.
If it's 32, I don't know.
He's a third-team All-American as a backup.
Yeah, nuts. I mean, because Jeremiah Love was such God's gift to earth that like Jadarian played like a normal amount of snaps.
That's awesome.
He's
that.
Quick. He's fast. He runs hard. He's got receiver ability, and he was a returner.
That's awesome.
He did fumble 4 times. Don't worry about it.
No, we're not gonna think about it.
3 inside the 10-yard line, but.
Alrighty, Ben. So, looking at what's left over here, that sounded crazy. I'm looking at who's still available.
Look at these absolute rejects that are still on the board. These bums.
That was diabolical of me.
Picking through the pieces.
All right, so in the bargain bin, we got.
By the way, San Francisco turned pick 27 into 33, 90, and like 130.
Pretty darn good.
Savvy draft maneuvering.
So ESPN's top 5. We got Jermod McCoy, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Avion Terrell, Denzel Boston, and Caden McDonald as the 5. Those names are going to come off the board pretty quick, I would assume. But, yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me is probably going to be McCoy not going. I understand the injuries. I get that there. I really thought we'd see Denzel Boston go as well. He's the number 23 overall prospect, according to ESPN. But overall, I think a lot of teams had pretty good first rounds, with a couple obvious exceptions. But this is going to sound crazy. I want to shout out both Cleveland and New York, the Jets. I think both of them had good first rounds.
Yeah, you're walking away with some quality players. So the Niners are first on the board here at 33. And then we are followed by the Cardinals at 34, the Bills at 35, and then the Raiders at 36, and the Giants at 37 for your top 5 there. I would definitely expect Cade McDonald probably to come off the board there. You're thinking maybe a Denzel Boston. Buffalo loves a second-round wide receiver. San Francisco also could use a receiver. They just signed Mike Evans. So I don't know if Boston is the best fit because they kind of have some overlap as an X receiver. But Mike Evans is also older, so I don't know that you would let that limit you there. You mentioned some of the corners. Terrell and Colton Hood is also on the board. TJ Parker and edge. I'm actually not shocked about Jermod McCoy, only because I heard a lot in the last 2 days that indicated that he might fall out of the first round because of those injury concerns. I think if he's healthy, though, it's going to be an extremely good value pick for somebody. A couple other guys. We didn't have any other linebackers come off the board. I think C.J. Allen and Jacob Rodriguez are two guys to watch for sure that have a lot of talent and could come off the board quickly. Anthony Hill Jr. as well out of Texas.
He had a good combine.
Traden Stukes, the corner from Arizona, getting a lot of buzz as well. I also really like Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vanderbilt. He strikes me as he's a guy that I would really like to see.
He's the one that set the tight end vertical record, right, at the combine. Is he the one I'm thinking of?
And an insane athlete, yeah. But yeah, I think the draft is always interesting because you always end up with a couple guys. You're like, how did they fall out of the first round? But I think there's a lot of it's a weaker draft for sure, but I think there's a lot of quality players still on the board, and I think that the beginning of the second round, you're going to see a lot of guys get some good value, or a lot of teams get some good value on this. Okay, so breaking news from our correspondent in Atlanta. Ryan is going to try to go get an in-person interview with C.J. Allen and see if he wants to come on the podcast and just share how he's feeling in this moment. So I'm sure that he'll get back to us as to whether C.J. Allen wants to join the Spill In It podcast. He can have a platform to say whatever he wants on this pod, truly. Yeah. But Justin, while he checks in with CJ, any final thoughts just about this first round?
Not really about the first round. I think I kind of covered everything I wanted to cover with it. Do you want to shout out?
Bernard, sorry, also Alabama.
Very good. I do want to shout out D'Angelo Pons, another IU guy. Undersized, he's 5'9", short king, but his name's going to be called in the next couple days, and I think he's going to make a team very happy. Being undersized as a corner is going to be tough, getting drafted in the first round, but excited to hear some of these other guys get their name called because, there were several of them that were there at IU before everything really started to turn around. And before they were a legitimate national championship contender. So for me, I'm just excited for these dudes who probably a few years ago didn't have a prayer to be hearing their name called at any point during the draft to get drafted. I think it's a really cool story.
Yeah, and, D'Angelo Pons, as an example, obviously I'm loath to give IU any sort of positive publicity, but it is kind of cool to go from James Madison to the NFL. That's not a common thread there. So, he had to suffer for a couple of years, but then, he'll be all right on the other end. Good luck to him, 5'8" corner, but he's a talented player for sure. Well, is Diana Rossini happy? Who knows, man? She deleted her Twitter. She's probably going through it at home. I gotta imagine. Naming your child after. Anyway, I don't want to get into that.
That is
on this podcast. That's spilling it after dark territory.
We should do that.
But Jesse, I had a lot of fun doing this with you, man.
Yeah, this is great.
We were just as a programming note. If you're expecting to see rounds 2 through 3 tomorrow and rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday, LOL, you will not be doing that. Jesse and I have rich and fulfilling lives. You're lucky you got this one round.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a blast. We'll definitely do it again next year. We'll probably do it for the NBA, like Jesse said. Probably not for baseball.
And all 65 rounds of the MLB draft.
It's more manageable now. It's down to just 20.
Right.
But, I had a blast, and I look forward to, seeing what our teams that we root for do here in this draft and seeing what other moves are made and prospects I like, where they end up. And, it was fun hanging with you.
Yeah, I had a great time. We'll definitely do this again. Full draft recap and everything, talking about our teams probably on next week's pod. We'll get back to our normal programming. And Ben, I do want to get to the point where we're doing some live stream gaming. That probably will be after I move and I get my setup. and everything because we're in kind of teardown mode right now. But I think it'd be a lot of fun.
We'll get there.
I think it'd be a lot of fun if you and
For
I got
sure.
on and hopped on 2K and like rebuilt teams together. So just different stuff, keeping it fresh.
Yeah, Gypsy, any thoughts about the
Gypsy.
draft? Any thoughts? No? Okay, she's more interested in my lab. All right, well, I think we're going to call it a night there. Thank you to everyone who joined and everyone who's listening after the fact. Weird choice, but thanks. And, we'll see you next week.
Peace out.